Chapter 1532. This bastard stole the dragon origin of our clan. What? Dragon origin? Whoosh! As soon as he said that, everyone in Mang City had a change of expression. Nangong Guangtong narrowed his eyes. Even Bai Qianyu's peerlessly beautiful face had traces of solemnity on it. Really? Bai Qianyu found it hard to believe. You can ask him if you don't believe me. Wu Hui pointed at Long Qingyang. Bai Qianyu turned to look at Long Qingyang. In comparison, Chu Hen, Long Xuan, and the others were confused. Dragon origin? What's that? Mu Feng asked in confusion. It sounds a little precious, Qiao Xiaowan chimed in. It's more than precious. Mo Qingli's red lips parted as she looked at Long Qingyang meaningfully. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan is born with the dragon soul qi, and the blood of the ancient dragon god flows in their veins. The dragon origin is a ball of spiritual energy left behind by their ancestor, the true dragon. The spiritual energy contains the qi of the 9 dragons. Rumor has it that only the patriarchs of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan are qualified to absorb the energy in the dragon origin. Mo Qingli's explanation was rather detailed. Although the few of them didn't understand the so-called dragon essence, they couldn't help but be shocked when they heard that only the patriarch and the lineage had the qualifications to absorb the dragon essence. That alone was enough to prove the importance of the dragon origin. In other words, the reason why Long Qingyang's cultivation had improved so rapidly was because he had devoured the dragon origin. If that was the case, things would be a little difficult. I did devour your dragon origin. Long Qingyang's admission caused the atmosphere to become even more tense. Everyone's expression changed again. However, Long Qingyang paused for a moment before he continued. But before that, I'd like to know what good the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan has done. Wu Hui frowned as a chill rose in his eyes. Don't spout nonsense. Oomph. Long Qingyang sneered. Since you dare to do it, why don't you admit it? I, Long Qingyang, may have swallowed your dragon essence, but your Dragon Blood Sacred Clan is one of the 10 strongest sacred clans. How dare you sacrifice a living person to increase the power of your dragon essence? Aren't you afraid of divine retribution? What? As soon as he said this, everyone present turned pale with fright. Offering a living person as a sacrifice? Xiao Xiaowan exclaimed. How did you know? Mo Qingli asked in a low voice. Because I'm one of the people they captured to be sacrificed. Long Qingyang's thunderous voice made everyone's scalps go numb. Chu Hen's face darkened, and he gripped Long Qingyang's arm tightly. Big brother, what's going on? Long Qingyang tried to calm his agitated emotions. He continued, Third brother, after the situation in the Alliance was stabilized that year, I wanted to wander outside for a few years before returning. But who would have thought that I would be captured by a group of mysterious people of unknown origin not long after I left the Eastern Victory State? When I woke up, I found out that I was in a huge furnace, and my surroundings were filled with strangers who were captured like me. Later on, I found out that it was the 9 Dragons Cauldron, a cauldron that nurtures dragon origin. Nonsense! Wu Hui snapped before Long Qingyang could finish. As everyone knows, the 9 Dragons Cauldron is ranked 6th on the Divine Weapon ranking. It contains an enormous amount of dragon soul qi, and the temperature inside is far higher than the magma in the Earth's core. If you were captured to be sacrificed, you wouldn't have survived more than 3 seconds inside. Do you really think you'd be able to come out alive? The few of them turned to Long Qingyang. The latter's gaze darkened. He subconsciously extended his hand to the side of his neck and gently grasped a red jade pendant hanging on his neck. The jade pendant was crimson in color and looked like a refined spirit crystal. The strangest thing about it was that it was in the shape of a dragon. I thought I was going to die too. Long Qingyang's eyes were filled with fear and confusion. But the critical moment, this jade pendant blocked the terrifying flames inside the cauldron for me. Chu Hen and Long Xuan were both stunned. Both of them had seen this jade pendant before. It was an item that had been passed down from the Long family ancestors. It used to be in Long Bo's hands, but it had been passed on to Long Zhan. Long Zhan had hung this jade pendant around Long Qingyang's neck when Long Qingyang had been in poor health and would often fall sick for no reason. Miraculously, Long Qingyang had never fallen sick since then, and his health had only gotten better and better. Father passed this to you. Long Xuanchuang clenched her hands into fists. Long Qingyang nodded. Thinking back to that stern but warm figure, Long Qingyang subconsciously tightened his grip on his father's relic. Long Qingyang had been shocked at the time, and surprised too. He had thought that it was Long Zhan's spirit in heaven who had shielded him from disaster and prevented him from becoming a sacrifice in the Nine-Dragon Cauldron like the others. Although he had not been able to escape from the Nine-Dragon Cauldron, Long Qingyang had managed to survive. After a period of observation, Long Qingyang had discovered the Dragon Yuan within the Nine-Dragon Cauldron and began to hide within the cauldron, secretly devouring the power of the Dragon Yuan. During this time, people were constantly captured and sent to the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, then mercilessly thrown into the Nine-Dragon Cauldron. Long Qingyang felt like he was standing on the tip of a knife each time, terrified that he would be discovered by the people outside the cauldron. Fortunately, the Nine-Dragon Cauldron had gathered a large amount of dragon soul energy and lava, and the magical power of the Jade Pendant had given Long Qingyang a good cover. The others were not as lucky as Long Qingyang. One by one, they were reduced to ashes amidst miserable cries. Long Qingyang's scalp went numb every time he heard the cries of others within the Nine-Dragon Cauldron. Long Qingyang's story. Everyone could not help but feel a chill down their spines. Just thinking about it was enough to feel the despair and fear that came from the depths of their souls. There had been rumors that the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan would occasionally hunt down monsters and throw them into the Nine-Dragon Cauldron to increase the power of the Dragon Yuan. It sounded cruel, but monsters were still monsters. No matter how the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan hunted them, the world could accept it. After all, this was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. On a certain level, monsters and humans could be considered as opposites. However, once a living person was offered as a sacrifice, it would definitely go against humanity. Such actions could be said to be disgraceful and heinous. Shut up. Don't you dare tarnish the reputation of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Wu Hui reprimanded in a stern voice, and at the instant he finished speaking, a fierce energy fluctuation erupted from his palm and arm. Clang! Wu Hui brandished the halberd in his hand with a thunderous roar. In an instant, the silhouette of a majestic dragon swooped down towards Long Qingyang and the others with devastating might. A terrifying pressure descended upon them. Hurricanes swirled around them, shattering the rocks below. Crack! In the next instant, a beam of purple lightning shot out. Along with an incomparably sharp, tearing sound, the purple lightning streaked across the sky and penetrated the head of the dragon's silhouette. What? Wu Hui's expression changed slightly. Long Qingyang's heart skipped a beat. Turning to the side, he saw the beam of purple lightning shoot out of Chu Hen's palm, exuding a terrifying penetrative force. Then, under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the purple beam of light sliced through the air and split the dragon's shadow into two. Who are you? Wu Hui asked coldly. Chu Hen did not reply. His handsome and stern face was covered with frost. How unforgivable! Everyone's expression changed as they sensed the chilling aura emanating from Chu Hen. To think that the mighty Dragon Blood Sacred Clan would commit such a despicable act. That's just his side of the story. What evidence does he have to prove that we sacrifice humans to nourish our Dragon Yuan? Indeed. Long Qingyang was the only one who had escaped from the Nine Dragons Cauldron. His side of the story wasn't convincing at all, but he had personally admitted to taking the Dragon Yuan. From a third party's point of view, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was clearly more oppressive. Bai Qinyu suddenly asked, I'd like to ask something. Since the Dragon Yuan is the ultimate treasure of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, it should be heavily guarded, right? Of course, Wu Hui replied coldly. Since it's heavily guarded, then I'm curious how he managed to sneak into the Nine Dragons Cauldron without anyone noticing. He even managed to devour the Dragon Yuan right under your noses. Wu Hui was speechless at Bai Qinyu's words. That's right. Tell me, how did he get into the Nine Dragons Cauldron? Are you people of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan all blind? Xiao Xiaowan chimed in. Since the Dragon Yuan was an ultimate treasure that could only be used by the bloodline, it had to be heavily guarded. Such an important thing. Even if there were no great Saint King Realm Masters guarding it, there would definitely be Saint King Realm Masters guarding it. Given Long Qingyang's strength before he devoured the Dragon Yuan, he wouldn't even be able to enter the Nine Dragons Cauldron, let alone get close to it. The only explanation was that Long Qingyang had been thrown into the Nine Dragons Cauldron by force. It was precisely because the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan thought that Long Qingyang was as insignificant as an ant that they had underestimated the situation inside the cauldron. 6 years passed. Long Qingyang had stayed in the Nine Dragons Cauldron for 6 whole years. He had also devoured the Dragon Yuan for 6 whole years. During this time, a few members of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan had obtained Dragon Soul energy from the Dragon Yuan, but they didn't need to enter the Nine Dragons Cauldron to absorb the Dragon Yuan energy from the Dragon Soul Hall outside. Long Qingyang was a smart one. He could tell if there was anyone outside based on the fluctuations of the Dragon Yuan within the cauldron. Every time this happened, Long Qingyang would increase his speed and devour the Dragon Yuan energy without restraint. That way, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan wouldn't be puzzled by the sharp decrease in the power contained in their Draconic Yuan. They would only think that it was one of their own clansmen who had absorbed the Dragon Yuan energy, not that there was a ghost hidden inside the Nine Dragons Cauldron. For 6 years, Long Qingyang had been extremely cautious and on high alert every single day. Finally, when he thought that he had the confidence to escape, he had devoured the Dragon Yuan energy in one go and seized the opportunity to escape. Because of this, Long Qingyang had been hunted down by the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Long Qingyang had been running aimlessly the entire time. He hadn't expected to be intercepted by Wu Hui and the others in Mang City. What was even more unbelievable was that Chu Hen and Long Xuan had coincidentally come here as well. There's no point in talking. I don't care how you stole our clan's Dragon Yuan, but I will bring you back today. It was obvious. What Wu Hui had said was full of loopholes. Rather than making things worse, it was better to just bring Long Qingyang back. With that, he unleashed his heaven-ranked Great Saint King aura. The halberd in Wu Hui's hand was surrounded by a majestic dragon shadow. No matter who it is, no one can save him today. These words were undoubtedly meant for Bai Qinyu. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan didn't want to have a conflict with the Holy-Eyed Sacred Clan. But when it came to Dragon Yuan, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan couldn't care less. Long Qingyang, Long Xuan, Mu Feng, and the others' expressions changed when they sensed the powerful killing intent coming from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Chu Hen, Xin Shuang, don't. But before Long Qingyang could finish speaking, a surge of surging killing intent soared into the sky. Pillars of purple light shot up into the heavenly river like shocking waves. Chu Hen coldly stared at Wu Hui and the others, whose faces revealed killing intent. I've been restraining the hatred in my heart all this time. You don't want to let him go, but I don't plan on letting you go either. Zhang! A loud and passionate wave of energy rippled through the air. It was accompanied by a powerful spatial rhythm. Purple light swirled in Chu Hen's eyes, and 7 black dots appeared in the depths of his pupils. Demon eyes. Wu Hui's eyes narrowed. Chapter 1533. Demon Eye. Wu Hui of the Dragon Bloodline's Sacred Clan trembled as he looked at the young figure standing beside Long Qingyang. His expression changed. He subconsciously glanced at Bai Qinyu on the other side, and a hint of contempt appeared between his brows. Interesting. The two clans are actually together. The surging pillars of purple light seemed to tear the earth apart. Like ferocious lightning dragons, they whizzed towards Wu Hui. Chu Hen had been restraining the rising hatred and killing intent in his heart ever since he'd heard about Long Qingyang's misfortune over the past few years. No wonder Long Qingyang hadn't returned all these years. It wasn't that he didn't want to come back, but that he couldn't. If he hadn't happened to be here today, he probably wouldn't have been able to find Long Qingyang's whereabouts for the rest of his life. Damn it! Damn it! How infuriating! Humph! A mere mortal great Saint King dares to attack me? A disdainful sneer appeared on Wu Hui's face. He raised the halberd in his hand and swung it in the air. creating a sharp arc in the air. Clang, light and shadow intertwined as the lightning was cut apart. The whizzing lightning pillars were all chopped apart by the arc-shaped halberd radiance. Shing! In the next moment, the resonant, vibrating sound of a sharp blade overlapped. Chu-Hen's 5 fingers condensed in the air. Under the interweaving of gorgeous and manic lightning, a peerlessly sharp black divine sword was immediately unleashed. Swish! The air tore as the sword tore through the air. The formless imperial blade, which had shot out like the moon-chasing flying shuttle, soared into the sky. At the same time, Chu-Hen's demonic purple eyes narrowed as the 7 black dots in the depths of his pupils began to spin. Accompanied by a powerful spatial rhythm, a ball of purple demonic flames wrapped around the rapidly moving, formless imperial blade. The demonic flames surrounding the formless imperial blade burned with the power to burn the heavens, instantly turning into the silhouette of an enormous purple demonic flame dragon. Demonic flame, silent burial. What incredible control over Demon Eye. The party from the Dragon Blood Sacred clan was a little surprised. A cold light flashed in Wu Hui's eyes. Humph! Insignificant tricks. Whoosh! He spun the ancient halberd in his hand and swung it at the purple flame dragon. The sharp halberd radiance cut through the heavenly river, and a beam of light streaked across the sky like a heavenly punishment. Clang! In an instant, the shadow was like an earth-shattering sword pillar that fell from the sky, directly striking the body of the purple dragon's silhouette. It was as if the god of apocalypse was punishing a ferocious monster. A violent aura wave that shook the 9 heavens surged in the void, and a majestic and terrifying sword pillar began to twist the huge purple dragon shadow in middle. The purple flames exploded in the sky. Just as everyone was shocked by Wu Hui's powerful technique, the demonic flame dragon image's head exploded and it suddenly opened its mouth. Shio! With a rapid, trembling sound, a black divine sword flickering with lightning was spat out of the shattered dragon shadow's mouth. The corners of Wu Hui's mouth curled into a disdainful smile. A trick played by a 3-year-old. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his halberd, and the halberd, which was surrounded by a terrifying dragon silhouette, flew towards the formless emperor blade. The powerful dragon aura caused the space to distort and shake. Wu Hui's attack seemed as if it was going to shatter the formless emperor blade. Hiss! In an instant, the sharp halberd collided with the formless emperor blade with unerring accuracy. The moment the two collided, the space distorted to the extreme, and a long and narrow crack appeared. A violent cyclone whistled in the sky above Mang City. A halberd and a sword collided head-on, and the explosive power was like the collision of 2 heavenly rays. The expected scene of the formless emperor blade breaking did not appear. Everyone's pupils shrank slightly. Behind the formless emperor blade, there was a young figure with purple lightning flickering all over his body. Not bad speed. Wu Hui's cold eyes reflected the demonic purple pupils of a demon god. Not only is my speed good, in terms of strength, I can also take your life. Chu-Hen's eyes turned cold. The moment his words fell, the formless emperor blade in his hand shone brilliantly. Then, the blade quickly elongated, and in an instant, it transformed into a sharp dragon's pine-eye spear. This is? Wu Hui was slightly shocked. Bang! With a loud bang, a beam of lightning suddenly burst out from the tip of the spear. A tremendous force flowed through the halberd in Wu Hui's hand and into his body. Wu Hui immediately felt his arm go numb, and his whole body was sent flying. Chi-chi! Dense lightning arcs spread along Wu Hui's arm all the way to his whole body. The latter's eyes turned cold. I have underestimated your ability. Bang! A surge of domineering dragon soul chi erupted from his body, shattering the lightning power that enveloped his body. Then, Wu Hui brandished his halberd and turned around to attack Chu-Hen. Chu-Hen was fearless. He raised his ice spear and met the opponent head-on. The halberd was like a shadow, and its momentum was like thunder. The spear's shadow was like rain, and it was unrestrained. Long Qingyang couldn't help but sigh in admiration as he watched the battle between the two of them. After so many years, I'm still no match for third brother, even though I have become an Earth Great Saint King. Long Qingyang, who had devoured the dragon essence in the 9-dragon cauldron for 6 years, was definitely one of the top cultivators in the world. He had thought that his old friends had fallen far behind him. However, Chu Hen was still the same old Chu Hen. Long Qingyang was both surprised and happy for Chu Hen's growth. Never mind, since I, Long Qingyang, have finally seen the light of day again, I might as well fight my brother to my heart's content. Buzz! With that, Long Qingyang raised his arms and clenched his fists. Roar! A powerful dragon roar resounded throughout the world from within his body. An illusory, cold, white dragon shadow rose from behind him like a protective spirit beast and lingered around him. The other experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred clan looked cold. How arrogant of you. Don't think that you can fight us just because you've devoured the dragon essence. Killing intent filled the air, and dust filled the air. In an instant, the experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred clan unleashed a torrential aura and charged at Long Qingyang and the others like towering mountains. At least I can see my family and friends again. Even if I die here today, it will be worth it. With that, Long Qingyang rose into the air, the dragon's shadow around him tearing the sky apart as it pounced at the people in front of him. Screech! At the same time, Emote Qingli also stepped into the air. Along with an earth-shattering wave of heat, a divine bird with a wingspan of over 1,000 feet suddenly appeared behind her. Sacred Wing Heavenly Flame Sparrow. The experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred clan were surprised. I'll take care of this beast. You two go take back the dragon essence. One of the guards clad in dragon-patterned saint armor said coldly. All right. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 great Saint King realm experts who control domain power split into 2 groups, one of them heading towards Emo Qingli. The other 2 went straight for Long Qingyang. Meanwhile, the remaining dozen or so people charged towards Mu Feng, Long Xuan, Yi Yao, and Xiao Xiaowan. On the Dragon Blood Saint clan side, there were 4 or 5 peak Great Saint King Realm Masters and more than 10 Saint King Realm Masters. Their overall strength was clearly superior to Chu Hen's side. However, at this moment, Bai Qinyu did not immediately join the battle between the 2 sides. Instead, she glanced at Nangong Guangtong's group from the corner of her eye. The current situation was different. The real pressure did not come from the Dragon Blood Sacred clan. After all, Wu Hui was only a Heaven Great Saint King. However, Mang City was being overseen by the deputy clan leader of the Light Sacred clan. He was almost a half-step emperor. If Mang City interfered, the situation would become even worse. Therefore, Bai Qinyu's real job was to keep an eye on the Light Sacred clan. Chapter 1534. Boom! Bang! The war in Mang City broke out instantly. Long Qingyang's appearance had changed the purpose of Chu Hen and the others. No one had expected Long Qingyang to be hunted down by the Dragon Blood Sacred clan. No one had expected Long Qingyang to live so cautiously over the years. However, even though this was the territory of the Light Sacred clan, Nangong Guangtong did not intend to stop the war. It was like watching 2 tigers fight. Mang City, on the other hand, had their own ulterior motives. In the air, Chu Hen wielded the 8-foot-long spear aura. Sweeping out with the force of a thunderbolt, he clashed fiercely with the heavenly battle halberd, which had no light at all. A rain of light splashed, and airwaves rose to the sky. A series of violent impacts, such as stars colliding, mountains and rivers tearing apart. Wu Hui could not help but be shocked. He was a Heaven Great Saint King, while Chu Hen was only a peak mortal Great Saint King. There were 2 whole levels of difference between them, but Chu Hen's realm power was not weaker than his at all. If there was a difference in bloodline, it would be another story. But both of them had the 10 most powerful sacred bloodlines. They were equal in bloodline and suppressed in cultivation. But Chu Hen was as ferocious as a beast, and it was hard to suppress him. If I'm not wrong, you're the one who destroyed the War God Palace in Midland, right? Wu Hui swung the dragon shadow heavy halberd, splitting apart the sharp spear auras that were as dense as rain. The sharp halberd blade slashed towards Chu Hen's head. So what if I am? So what if I'm not? Chu Hen shook his body and dodged the opponent's attack. At the same time, he turned his hand around and stabbed towards Wu Hui's heart. Crack! Bolts of lightning gathered on the blade of the spear, and thousands of thunderbirds cried. It was a stunning scene, like a thunderbolt piercing through the world. Oof. Facing Chu Hen's extremely penetrating thunderbolt attack, Wu Hui's face revealed a mocking sneer. Then he stretched out his left arm and grabbed the peerlessly sharp spear with his bare hands. However, in the instant before his left palm came into contact with the blade of the spear, there was a buzzing sound and a dazzling crimson light flashed. Wu Hui's left arm had shockingly transformed into a dragon claw that was as sharp as an iron hook. Dark red scales covered his arms and palms. Chi! A string of sparks and fiery rains splashed across the sky, as if the heavenly rays were rubbing against each other. Wu Hui's sharp dragon claws contained a fatal trapping power as he firmly grasped the endless spear light. Whoosh! A circle of chaotic air waves spread out in the air. The moment the dragon claw grabbed it, the lightning arcs covering it were shattered. Let go! Wu Hui shouted coldly. Buzz! An extremely strong hidden force surged out from the body of the spear and attacked Chu Hen. Chu Hen spread his 5 fingers, then loosened his grip on the spear. Wu Hui revealed a disdainful and mocking expression. Is that all you've got? But as soon as he finished speaking, the tips of Chu Hen's hands flickered with thousands of strands of silver light patterns. Just like the swirling swirls of light, they quickly intertwined and fused in front of Chu Hen. In the next moment, 9 dazzling diamond-shaped essences condensed in the air. 9-star seal go. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of rushing wind was exceptionally sharp. Wu Hui's pupils rapidly reflected the brilliant and colorful 9-star jade. The distance between the two was less than 3 meters. At such a close distance, no matter how fast Wu Hui's reaction speed was, he could not avoid Chu Hen's counterattack. Bang, bang, bang. A series of overlapping heavy explosions surged together as the 9 magnificent star jade all struck Wu Hui's body. A vast and chaotic ring of light leaked out in front of Wu Hui, and the chaotic chi pattern spread out in all directions. His body trembled violently, and his whole body was sent flying by the terrifying force. Then Chu Hen leaned forward, and his steady and powerful palm once again gripped the end of the cold spear. Let go. The same words came out of Chu Hen's mouth this time. Buzz, a hidden force, like an undercurrent in the deep sea, once again flowed along the body of the spear and into the blade. Wu Hui's dragon arm shook, and the iron hook-like dragon claws were immediately shaken off. In the next moment, Chu Hen's arms exerted force, and he gripped the end of the cold spear with both hands. His body spun, and he swung the heavy and steady long spear at Wu Hui's chest. Bang! A heavy explosion exploded in the air, and the chaotic chi waves swept out in all directions. Suddenly, the dragon pattern god armor on Wu Hui's body broke into pieces and exploded from his body. This guy? Everyone on the Mang City side was shocked. No one had expected that Wu Hui, a heaven stage great saint king, would be suppressed by Chu Hen, a common stage great saint king. Vice clan leader? Chu Qinghe, the city lord of Medical Saint City, said in a deep voice. Nangong Guangtong raised his hand slightly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. No hurry. Wu Hui, who was hit by the terrifying gravitational force, was directly swept 100 meters away. In the process of moving, a particularly dense layer of dark red scales appeared in front of his chest. Hee, with just this little bit of strength, how can you hurt me? Dragon Saint Blood. Whoosh! A vast circle of red chi patterns spread out like a wave. Wu Hui shouted loudly, and his whole body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of dark red-hot lava. Then, the hot lava immediately condensed into pieces of dense, solid dragon scales. Wu Hui's body trembled violently, and a steady stream of dragon soul energy burst out. It was as if a ferocious monster was about to break out of his body, and all the bones in his body were moving inside. Under the shocked gazes of the people below, Wu Hui's limbs immediately elongated, and they directly turned into sharp dragon claws. Dark red scales immediately covered his whole head. Roar! A deafening monster roar resounded through the 9 heavens, and a violent aura like that of an ancient beast filled the world. In an instant, Wu Hui turned into a terrifying half-human, half-dragon monster. His figure was similar to a human standing. However, he had dragon claws, a dragon tail, and a ferocious head. A pair of strange flesh wings sprouted from his back, and a red whirlpool of light gathered around him like a hurricane, looking extremely ferocious and domineering. Looking at Wu Hui, who had transformed into a ferocious monster, a solemn look appeared on Chu Hen's face. At the same time, Yi Yao, Long Xuan, and Mu Feng had fallen into a great adversity. Although they also had Saint King realm strength, they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. What's more, the other side had the Dragon Blood Sacred Body's bloodline boundary force to support them. Bang! A heavy explosion reverberated through the world, and Long Xuan, who had been besieged by several people, was the first to be repelled. Long Xuan, who had fallen back to the ground, narrowed her beautiful eyes and clasped her palms together, releasing a powerful ice-profound qi. Qi-ka. Along with the condensing of the cold air, sharp icicles rose into the sky, like wooden stakes emerging from the earth, and crisscrossed around her. Bang! Boom! But in the next moment, a fierce attack tore through the air, and all the icicles were immediately shattered by the powerful impact from all sides. 3 figures appeared in a row, one in front of Long Xuan, and one on the left and one on the right. Cold and sharp spear lights flew straight towards Long Xuan. Long Xuan's eyes flashed with panic. The danger of death was rapidly approaching. Boom! At this critical moment, the ground around Long Xuan suddenly burst apart, sending rocks of all sizes flying into the sky, and a violent wave of purple energy overturned the earth. The 3 Dragon Blood Sacred Clan masters surrounding Long Xuan were all shocked. Before they could react, the powerful energy storm had sent the 3 of them flying. At the same time, a giant purple hand broke out of the ground behind Long Xuan, reaching straight for the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan master in front of her. The latter's expression changed drastically. The purple shadow immediately covered the sky, and the huge fiend god's hand directly grabbed that person. No, a short but urgent roar resounded above Dongmang City. The giant purple hand closed its fingers, and a violent force forcefully crushed the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan master into a bloody mess. Bang! The vast purple light patterns mixed with the blood mist surged in all directions. Rumble! The earth cracked open inch by inch. A purple whirlpool rose up into the sky, and a terrifying aura swept out. Numerous purple whirlpools intertwined, and a 1,000-foot-tall giant demon spirit appeared behind Long Xuan. Long Xuan's eyes widened in shock. She looked at Long Xuan. Like a guardian, it stood in front of her, protecting her. I still owe you 3 chapters. I'll pay you back by the end of the month. If you have flowers, remember to throw them. Thank you. Chapter 1535. Rumble. The ground crumbled, and the entire city shook violently. A boundless purple halo blended with a scarlet blood mist as the hand of nirvanic extermination crushed the expert of the Sacred Dragon Clan into a ball of blood and gore. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Looking at the giant purple demonic spirit that appeared behind Long Xuan, the faces of everyone from Mang City and the Dragon Blood Saint Tribe changed. It's the 7-star demon eye. Crack! Then, beams of violent and resplendent lightning bolts burst out from between the arms of the Nirvana demon spirit. Thousands of lightning bolts intertwined as the Nirvanic demon spirit's palms shot out one lightning serpent after another. For example, it was a divine punishment. exuding an aura of destruction. The lightning bolts headed straight for the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts were shocked. They turned around to block the attack. Boom! Rumble. The sky changed color and the earth cracked. A tremendous force slammed into the ground, shattering the Mang City Manor, the palace, and the experts of the Sacred Dragon Clan. They were all sent flying by the violent and devastating impact. A few of them who were slower to react were struck to the ground by the destructive lightning bolts, coughing up blood and charring their bodies. Sensing the Nirvanic demon spirit's powerful aura, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts were horrified. The power of a 7-star demon is indeed formidable. Wu Hui, who had transformed into a crimson pterosaur, had a cold glint in his dark golden eyes. However, you alone can't save the world. Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes narrowed as he subconsciously looked in Long Qingyang's direction. Long Qingyang was facing two great Saint Kings at the same time, but he was completely suppressed by them. The two from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan attacked Long Qingyang's vitals with every move, and it was clear that Long Qingyang was struggling. "Big brother, take this!" Just at this moment, Chu Hen loudly shouted, and at the same time, he raised his arm. Swish! A gust of wind pierced through the air as a cold spear, flickering with dark talismans, shot towards Long Qingyang like an aurora. The piercingly cold spear aura dragged a vigorous cyclone in the air. One of the experts from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan narrowed his eyes, and a disdainful smile appeared on his face. Dragon seizing hand. Buzz! In an instant, his palm suddenly stretched out, and it immediately turned into a dragon claw that was as sharp as a hook. The dragon claw's attack was like lightning, incomparably sharp. It tore apart the space and firmly locked the cold spear thrown by Chu Hen into its claws. "Thank you for your gift. I'll accept this god artifact." The man's face was filled with a complacent sneer. However, it was also at this moment that Wu Hui, who had transformed into a pterosaur, shouted, "Be careful." As soon as he finished speaking, a shadow flashed in the air. Before the dragon-blooded Sacred Clan expert who caught the formless Emperor Blade could understand what was going on, a ghostly figure appeared in front of him. A cold aura suddenly appeared in front of him. Idiot! The man's rapidly constricting eyes reflected a pair of demonic purple pupils. Damn it! The man's heart jumped. He suddenly reacted. Just a moment ago, Chu Hen had used this move to cross the distance of the void in an instant and appeared in front of Wu Hui. Wherever the opponent's weapon went, it could instantly reach the target at a speed that was more than 10 times faster than normal. Buzz! The next moment, Chu Hen gripped the spear in his hand, and a series of violent arcs of lightning burst out from his palm and spread along the spear's body. "I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you won't be able to take this god artifact with you." The corners of Chu Hen's mouth curled up into a mocking smile. The man's expression changed drastically. There was no chance for him to let go. The blade of the spear, which was flickering with arcs of lightning, pierced through the other party's dragon claws, releasing a divine might that could pierce through the world as it pierced towards the other party, even though they were both at the Great Saint King realm. However, the other party actually felt extremely weak in front of Chu Hen's power. The arm that was holding the spear involuntarily bent inwards. The man's heart trembled, and he felt his neck tighten. Chi! A stream of blood splattered in the air. The sharp spear light in Chu Hen's palm pierced through the dragon claw of his opponent and penetrated his throat. The lightning arcs swimming around the spear's blade were abnormally joyful. It broke out of the back of the opponent's neck, stained with blood. The 8-foot cold spear, peerless sharpness. He had killed the Dragon Blood Great Sage King with a single spear strike. Everyone in the audience was shocked. Mang City's side could not help but narrow their eyes. In the blink of an eye, Chu Hen had killed 2 of the Dragon Blood's sacred tribes members. His ruthless methods were truly frightening. "You really deserve to die." Wu Hui's cold vertical pupils were filled with thick killing intent. Whoosh! The other party's movement speed suddenly increased. Red magma-like whirlpools revolved around his body, tearing through the air. Wu Hui was like a meteorite piercing through the sky, dragging a powerful wave of heat behind him as he charged towards Chu Hen. Sensing Wu Hui's ferocious momentum, the corner of Chu Hen's eyes narrowed. Chi! He exerted force in his arm and pulled out the cold spear from the other party's throat. Then, he raised his hand and sent a purple lightning palm strike at the other party's body. After all, the other party was a great Saint King. Piercing the other party's throat with a spear wasn't enough to kill him. Boom! The mountain-like boundless palm force directly smashed his opponent into the ground below. The ground caved in, forming a giant palm print. Rubble and the city walls crumbled. The Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe expert, who had suffered 2 heavy blows in a row, was smashed deep into the ground and was immediately buried under the rubble. At the same time, a violent gust of wind attacked like a sharp blade. The enraged Wu Hui had already arrived in front of Chu Hen. "Bastard, I'll kill you." Buzz. However, at this moment, the Nirvana demon spirit on the other side suddenly unleashed a monstrous domineering aura. Its giant hand swiftly reached down, and the demon god's hand, which was covered in thousands of streaks of lightning, intercepted Wu Hui's attack. Bang! A heavy sound rang out, as if a meteorite had crashed into a mountain. The surrounding space distorted and trembled, along with a wantonly explosion of lightning arcs. The Nirvanic demon spirit's giant palm was forcibly pierced through by a terrifying force. A cold wind howled, and waves of air surged. Chu Hen's pupils involuntarily shrank. Swish! In the next second, the sinister figure surging with dark red light passed through the Nirvana demon spirit's interception like a shuttle and arrived in front of Chu Hen. "Don't forget, I'm also one of the 10 strongest sacred physiques. How can this little bit of strength stop me?" The cold voice was like a sharp blade. Bang! Then a sudden gust of wind blew, and the sinister dragon shadow directly slammed its razor-sharp dragon claws into Chu Hen's chest. The barb-like claws dug into Chu Hen's body. The powerful inertial force caused Chu Hen's body to twist and turn. The two of them quickly flew behind Chu Hen. Chu Hen, Long Xuan Xuang, Mu Feng, and the others' expressions changed drastically. They saw Wu Hui, who had transformed into a dragon, fiercely dig his claws into Chu Hen's body, and the huge inertial force caused the two of them to crash into several tall buildings in Mang City like meteorites. "I was a little careless." Bai Qinyu, who had been staying out of the battle, muttered softly. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan and the Demon Eye Sacred Clan were both of the 10 strongest bloodlines. However, the 10 strongest sacred physiques were also divided into different levels. They needed to constantly evolve in order to gradually display the strongest power of a sacred physique. Chu Hen's Demon Eye bloodline was at 7 stars. As for Wu Hui, his bloodline was only at level 6. In terms of bloodline, Chu Hen's 7-star Demon Eye bloodline was naturally superior to Wu Hui's level 6 Dragon Blood Sacred physique, but the latter's realm was 2 levels higher than Chu Hen's. Moreover, after the Dragon Blood Sacred physique transformed into a dragon, its instantaneous explosive power was close to that of the primitive sacred physique. Its defense and movement speed had also skyrocketed by dozens of times. In that situation, Chu Hen only used the Nirvana Demon Spirit's palm to block Wu Hui's attack, not giving his opponent the respect he deserved. Boom! Under the grip of Wu Hui's dragon claws, Chu Hen's back once again smashed through a magnificent hall. The two of them rushed out of the rubble one after the other. Huff! The fierce wind whistled in Chu Hen's ears. Their eyes met at close range, one demonic, the other fierce and domineering. This is just the beginning. You're already so powerless. Book from Chapter 1536. This is only the beginning. Are you already so powerless? A mocking voice spat out from Wu Hui's mouth. The corners of his mouth curled into a sinister, demon-like sneer. I don't think it's the beginning. I think it's almost over. Chu Hen calmly retorted. Whoosh! The 7 black dots in the depths of Chu Hen's eyes faintly trembled the moment he finished speaking. Along with a strange spatial rhythm, a cluster of purple flames appeared out of thin air in an instant. The demonic flames that did not have the slightest bit of temperature instantly scuttled up Wu Hui's arm. Then, like a venomous tarsal bone, it rapidly spread and burned Wu Hui's body, enveloping him within. The wantonly rising purple, demonic flames burned and distorted the space around them. In the blink of an eye, Wu Hui had been reduced to a flame-winged dragon. Sacred demonic flame of desolation. Wu Hui coldly snorted. Although it can cause considerable damage to my dragon scales, I won't stand here and let you burn me. As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Hui's dragon claw, which was embedded in Chu Hen's chest, suddenly erupted with a tremendous force. "Get down," Wu Hui sternly shouted, a passionate dragon roar coming from his throat. Roar! In an instant, Wu Hui's figure tilted to the side, and the enormous dragon claw directly crushed Chu Hen downwards. Wu Hui's speed exploded, his offensive power multiplied, and his strength multiplied. From afar, it looked like Chu Hen had been rapidly smashed into the ground by a meteor falling from the sky. Bang! An incomparably heavy, earth-shattering sound exploded both inside and outside of Mang City. As if struck by a meteor, the ground rapidly caved in the instant that Chu Hen and Wu Hui landed. Countless cracks spread across Mang City's courtyard like a giant spiderweb. Rocks of all sizes flew into the air like rain, mixed with a vast purple halo that swept in all directions. Roar! The dragon roar shook the heavens and the earth, and the terrifying dragon's soul aura intimidated everyone present. After smashing Chu Hen into the ground, Wu Hui's aura once again exploded, and a sinister and terrifying phantom of a winged dragon appeared in the sky. Frightening dragon transformation. Roar! Under everyone's shocked gazes, Wu Hui's already ferocious and domineering dragon body began to rapidly expand. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a pterosaur that was 300 to 400 meters long. Buzz, a boundless, ferocious aura spread out in all directions along with the mighty dragon aura. The purple, demonic flames that were attached to his body were swept away. The domineering, startling dragon was like a ferocious demon lord. Wu Hui, who had transformed into a several hundred-meter-long winged dragon, was extremely imposing. "Halberd, come!" he shouted loudly. Whoosh! The halberd, surrounded by the shadow of a dragon, suddenly flew over from the other side of the sky. In the process of moving, the heavenly war halberd also rapidly enlarged and lengthened. When the halberd landed firmly in Wu Hui's dragon claw, it transformed into a 100-meter-long divine halberd. The destructive aura caused the space to tremble. Wu Hui gripped the halberd with his claws and pointed the halberd downwards. His dragon arms erupted with a powerful force as he dragged the halberd, which was surrounded by tens of thousands of magma rays, towards Chu Hen, who was in the pit in front of him. Roar! The dragon shadow that lingered around the halberd let out a deafening roar. As if a storm was pouring down, the area where Chu Hen was about to be reduced to a land of divine punishment and destruction. "As you wish, I'll end it for you." "Not good, Chu Hen." Mu Feng, Long Xuan Xuang, Long Qingyang, and the others were all shocked when they saw this scene. "Sister Qinyu, hurry up and save big brother Chu Hen," Yi Yao exclaimed anxiously. Bai Qinyu's clear eyes narrowed slightly, and the depths of her pupils overflowed with wisps of divine golden light. However, it was also at this moment that incomparably strong, blood-colored vines suddenly rushed out of the ruins where Chu Hen was. Limitless, heart of thorns, rumble. The strong, blood-colored vines pierced through the ground like countless giant octopus hands rushing out of the dark abyss, intertwining and instantly wrapping around Wu Hui's huge dragon body. Whoosh! The crisscrossing blood-colored vines immediately darted toward Wu Hui's giant arm that was holding the divine halberd. The speed of the sharp halberd's descent clearly paused. But then, the halberd erupted with tens of thousands of rays of divine light, directly crushing the giant blood-colored vines that were entangling it. However, in that instant of pause, in the same instant that the terrifying heavy halberd landed on the ground, Chu Hen immediately retreated and rose into the air. Boom! The ground cracked inch by inch. The extremely violent impact of the halberd could be said to have crushed the entire area, and the destructive explosive blow that was comparable to the apocalypse tore through layer after layer of the ground. Mang City's courtyard was turned upside down. One building after another was razed to the ground. The surging tsunami-like aftermath wreaked havoc in all directions. Chu Hen drew a beam of afterimages in the void, sweeping across the sky in front of Wu Hui. That was close. Yi Yao, Long Xuan Xuan, and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But at the same time, they felt uneasy for Chu Hen. The sky was littered with rubble, and the cold wind was biting cold. "Umph, you even managed to dodge this." Wu Hui, who had transformed into a giant winged dragon, sneered coldly. He waved the halberd in his hand and slashed at Chu Hen. Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes flashed with a cold light. He changed directions several times in a row, and while dodging the sharp halberd light, he flashed to his opponent's body. Sun Luo, Arctic Storm, whoosh! In an instant, a bone-chilling cold current invaded the area. The temperature between heaven and earth instantly dropped below freezing point. Ice and snow roared, and wind and frost filled the air. A thick layer of frost quickly climbed up Wu Hui's huge dragon body. Crack! The ice condensed extremely quickly, especially within the range of Chu Hen's domain. Ice spikes spread out from Wu Hui's body, like wooden stakes on the ground, blocking his opponent's position. Looks like you can't come up with any decent moves. You can't even break my defense with this little thing. Wu Hui taunted wantonly. His vertical pupils trembled, and streaks of dark red light that looked like overflowing lava erupted from his dragon scales. Crack! The thick layer of ice covering his body was like shattered crystal glass, and countless cracks extended outwards. Whoosh! Chu Hen leaped and landed firmly in the middle of the domineering pair of flesh wings behind Wu Hui. Then his eyes flashed, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a playful smile. That's not necessarily true. If I want to break your snakeskin, these few are enough. Sun Luo, 1,000-mile desolation. Buzz, a circle of ancient and gloomy air patterns, like a surging gray torrent, instantly swept out, with Wu Hui's huge dragon body as the center. In the next moment, the sky changed color, and it was as if an ancient poisonous plague had corroded this space. The sky and earth were immediately reduced to a dusky yellow. Dust filled the sky. Strands of yellow sand mixed with brown turbid air danced wildly in the sky. The hearts of everyone present were shocked. Everything in Mang City had quietly lost its color, as if it had been baptized by wind and frost for many years, revealing an old color. It's the power of the sacred body of great desolation. The city lord of Medical Saint City, Chu Qinghe, clenched his fists and shouted coldly. No, it's the power of the Sunluo king, the demon lord, Nangong Guangtong, the deputy clan leader of the Light Sacred Tribe, said with narrowed eyes. The most shocking thing was that Wu Hui, who was in the center of the gray light circle, seemed to have been corroded by a deadly poison. The dark red scales on his body became dry, loose, and quickly lost their bright luster. I see. Bai Qinyu's beautiful eyes glowed. The power of the grand desolation. It was domineering and peculiar. Compared to other elemental powers, the power of the grand desolation could weaken any kind of physical defense. This power was known as the strongest armor-piercing power. I'm going to peel off this snakeskin of yours today, Chu Hen shouted coldly. Get lost. Wu Hui roared angrily. A few majestic red pillars of rock shot out from his back. Chu Hen leaped up and immediately flashed toward the sky. Then I'll give it a try. In his rage, Wu Hui waved the halberd in his hand. Scorching air waves stacked up and shattered all the ice and blood-colored vines that wrapped around his body. His cold vertical pupils swept toward Chu Hen, who was high up in the sky. Who's going to peel off whose skin? Sorry, it's over. The corner of Chu Hen's mouth twitched. Buzz. In an instant, countless dazzling silver light patterns swam out of his body. Innumerable strands of resplendent light immediately condensed in front of Chu Hen, forming streaks of exquisite, magnificent star jade. Ah, what a joke. It's this kind of trash again. However, before Wu Hui's voice died away, the space around Chu Hen began to vibrate violently. That's Yao, who was familiar with the North Star art, could not help but exclaim, "The 10th, magnificent star jade? How could it be?" After the 9 streaks of magnificent star jade, the 10th streak of dazzling rhombus-shaped essence appeared in front of Chu Hen. In the next moment, Yi Yao's expression changed again. After the 10th streak of magnificent star jade, another streak of rhombus-shaped essence condensed around Chu Hen. How is this possible? Chapter 1537. How is this possible? Just as the 9th magnificent star jade was completed, the appearance of the 10th magnificent star jade caused Yi Yao's heart to skip a beat. She had also cultivated this martial art before and could release the starry chest seal. However, it was common knowledge that the martial ancestors' North Star art could only condense 9 magnificent star jade at its peak. However, before Yao could recover from her shock, the 11th, 12th one after another, the diamond-shaped essence shone like stars and suddenly appeared around Chu Hen. Unbelievable! Feeling the powerful energy fluctuations coming from each of the magnificent star jade, Yi Yao was a little dazed. Wong! Suddenly, hundreds and thousands of diamond-shaped essences that overflowed with light condensed outside Chu Hen's body. Chu Hen was like a mysterious spirit that wielded the power of thousands of stars. A series of astonishing spatial fluctuations swept out. The demonic purple eyes looked indifferently at Wu Hui, who had transformed into a giant winged dragon. Then, countless peerless sharp auras locked onto him. Thousand-star chest seal. The sudden, piercingly cold wind wreaked havoc like frost blades. Chu Hen clasped his palms together, his purple eyes flashing with brilliant starlight. Xiao! So, in an instant, hundreds and thousands of diamond-shaped essence shone under Chu Hen's control. The vigorous and rapid chi wave dragged out beams of blazing light in the air. The power was like rain, and the killing intent was like numbness. Thousands of rapidly penetrating magnificent star jade were like shooting stars that pierced through the vast night sky, setting off endless destructive power, tearing through the sky and piercing towards Wu Hui. The latter's fierce vertical pupils trembled uneasily. Wu Hui, who had transformed into a winged dragon, had no way to avoid such a concentrated attack. Beams of sharp aurora dazzled the sky, flashing like the stars. Carrying with them a murderous aura, they all hit the opponent's huge dragon body. Bang! Bang! The rapid berserk power was like a clap of thunder. The numbing aura of execution shook everyone present. Rings after rings of condensed silver light spread out in all directions with Wu Hui at the center. Wave after wave of terrifying shock waves crashed down like meteors. Shadowless trembled violently as the dragon scales on his body, mixed with blood, were sent flying. Ah! An enraged roar came from his throat, and a monstrous scarlet flame erupted from his body. However, in the next moment, a beam of light that was as sharp as a blade suddenly shattered the other party's dragon scales and directly penetrated his body. What? The faces of those from the Dragon Blood sacred tribe changed drastically. Then, beams of light that resembled auroras pierced through Wu Hui's chest one after another, dragging along rapid energy patterns. The 9-layer chest star seal could still block it. The 100-star jade was hard to break through. Furthermore, the terrifying killing power that erupted from the 1,000 aurora shuttles were like 10,000 armor-piercing divine arrows. No matter how strong the defense of the Dragon Blood sacred body was, it was difficult to resist the 1,000-layer chest star seal. The spectacular scene was like a meteor shower that blotted out the sky. Broken dragon scales, flesh, and blood splattered everywhere. Boom! When the last beam of magnificent star jade pierced through Wu Hui's body, he bled profusely as if he had been turned into a sieve. Bloody holes appeared all over his body. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. This was especially true for Yi Yao. She couldn't believe that the martial ancestor realm's North Star art could possess such terrifying destructive power. In truth, the star chess seal that Chu Hen had used was a martial art that had been modified by the Fortune Emperor Palace's Emerald Essence scripture. It had evolved into a more perfect form of power. Bang! A loud bang resounded, and a bloody light burst out from Wu Hui's body. Enveloped by a red light, Wu Hui's body returned to its normal state in an instant. Lord Wu Hui. The faces of those from the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe changed drastically. All of them widened their eyes in shock. Amidst the whirlwind of frost and dust that covered the sky and earth, Wu Hui's entire body was dyed red with blood. All of his internal organs had been pierced, and many of his bones had been shattered. His entire body felt as if it had been pierced through by 10,000 arrows, like a bird with broken wings. He fell from midair. Wu Hui's eyes were powerless and filled with venom. The corner of Chu Hen's mouth curved into a smile. Have a safe journey. Swoosh! An astonishing power rippled out from his bewitching purple eyes. In an instant, a ball of purple, demonic flames rose into the air and quickly wrapped around Wu Hui, who was still in the midst of falling. In this state, coupled with the fact that he had lost the protection of his dragon scales, Shadowless was like a demon in the flames of hell as he let out a miserable howl. Lord Wu Hui. All the experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe turned deathly pale. They hastily rushed toward Wu Hui's location. However, before they could get close to him, Chu Hen's emotionless voice was like the announcement of the Grim Reaper. Nirvana storm. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The sky changed color, and the 9 heavens darkened. A vast and surging purple halo swept out in all directions. The ground caved in once more, and thousands of rocks were turned to dust. Together with the rampaging purple vortex storm, Wu Hui's body was forcibly blown into a bloody mist of residue. Bang, bang, bang. A few experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe who wanted to rescue Wu Hui were blown away by the shockwave before they could even get close. Lord Wu Hui. Everyone was furious, and their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. A heaven-ranked Great Sage King with a level 6 Dragon Blood Sacred body had been crushed by Chu Hen just like that. It was truly infuriating. That damn thing. The Great Sage King who was fighting Mo Qingli was so angry that his eyes were about to spit fire. He pushed Mo Qingli back with a palm strike, and then roared at the people of Mang City. Nangong Guangtong, what are you waiting for? Kill that little bastard for me right now. This roar caused everyone's hearts to tremble involuntarily. Mu Feng, Long Xuan Xuan, Xiao Xiaowan, and the rest were shocked. It was not a negotiating tone. It was not a plea for help. It was more like a reprimand. Could it be that there was a secret relationship between the Radiant Sacred Tribe and the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe? The moment that person's voice fell, Nangong Guangtong suddenly set off a majestic aura, riding on the wind. The power of his domain, which was far stronger than Wu Hui's, rushed towards Chu Hen like a tsunami. I didn't expect that even Wu Hui would be killed by you. You really can't be left alive. Nangong Guangtong's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. To be honest, this was something that he did not expect. It was also something that he did not want to see. Chu Hen's strength had exceeded his imagination. This kind of disaster could not be left alive. Buzz. The terrifying power of the silver-white domain overshadowed Chu Hen and instantly distorted Chu Hen's domain. Chu Hen's expression changed. A quasi-emperor. The information that he had gathered earlier was immediately verified. The other party had indeed reached the quasi-emperor realm. In a hurry, Chu Hen immediately threw a palm at Nangong Guangtong. Bang! The two palms met and an explosive force surged into Chu Hen's body. He felt his arm go numb and his internal organs tremble. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. What a powerful force! Chu Hen was shocked. Oomph! Nangong Guangtong sneered and took advantage of the situation to attack again. His palm energy was like a mountain, and he looked like he was going to kill Chu Hen on the spot. Die! Chu Hen's pupils shrank and his face turned cold. But just at that moment, a magnificent figure with peerless style suddenly flashed and appeared behind Chu Hen. Chu Hen only felt a soft, jade-like hand gently supporting his back. His gaze shifted to the side, and Bai Qinyu's beautiful profile quietly came into view. Then, Bai Qinyu held Chu Hen with one hand and raised her other hand into a palm. There was a beautiful golden light swaying in her palm. Bang! Bai Qinyu's palm collided with Nangong Guangtong's palm energy again, and a golden light curtain swept out. The white light and golden light intertwined like an exploding sun and stars, distorting the space and tearing it inch by inch. Bai Qinyu immediately retreated with Chu Hen out of the range of Nangong Guangtong's domain. Nangong Guangtong's face was cold and ruthless. Bai Qinyu and Chu Hen steadied themselves. Their beautiful eyes rippled as they softly said, "Are you all right?" Chu Hen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and shook his head. "It's a good thing you were prepared." From the beginning, Bai Qinyu did not participate in the battle with the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. She had always been wary of the Light Sacred Clan, afraid that Nangong Guangtong would suddenly attack. Now, it seemed that her worries had turned into reality. "Clan leader Nangong, why are you going back on your word?" Bai Qinyu asked coldly. Nangong Guangtong narrowed his eyes. "I'm sorry, Miss Bai. The person who stole the dragon essence came to Mang City today. The Light Sacred Clan has a responsibility to help the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan get back the dragon essence." That sounds like a good reason. But what does the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan losing the dragon essence have to do with the Light Sacred Clan? Haha, there's no point in saying more. Miss Bai, we have no intention of becoming enemies with the Divine Eye Sacred Clan, but please stay out of today's matter. It was obvious that Nangong Guangtong had already weighed the pros and cons previously. They were indeed afraid of the Divine Eye Sacred Clan. But if the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was behind them, they would not have to worry about the Divine Eye Sacred Clan causing trouble. After all, they were all from the 10 strongest sacred clans. It was not a loss to make friends with one and offend the other. Furthermore, the most important point was Chu Hen had the Qitian token. That was the main goal of the Light Sacred Clan. Everyone from the Light Sacred Clan, listen up. Kill everyone except Miss Bai. Nangong Guangtong gave the order without hesitation. Yes, in an instant, many experts in Mang City rose. One after another, figures emitting powerful auras surrounded Chu Hen and the others from all directions. Not good. Mu Feng, Long Xuan, Long Qingyang, and the others were all shocked. Once the Light Sacred Clan and the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan joined forces, they would be doomed in an instant. Bai Qinyu's beautiful eyes were solemn. She looked at Chu Hen. Nangong Guangtong's palm had caused quite a bit of damage to Chu Hen. Judging from the current situation, it would be difficult for them to break through. Die. Kill. Powerful auras came crashing down from all directions. Suddenly, the sky changed color and the wind and clouds gathered. All of a sudden, the sky above Mang City began to distort violently. Burial, demonic flame storm. Boom! An incomparably heavy and terrifying explosion shook the entire sky above Mang City without any warning, and the destructive whirlpool storm completely exploded. The Mang City experts who were caught off guard were instantly crushed into pieces as if they had been struck by a destructive nebula. Everyone was shocked. Their gazes swept towards Chu Hen in unison. However, Chu Hen, who was standing beside Bai Qinyu, was also shocked. His eyes were wide open as he looked at the sky behind Mang City in disbelief. It's him, this power. Another pair of demonic eyes. There are more updates. Chapter 1538. Looking at the purple storm that swept across the sky above Mang City and killed more than a dozen Light Sacred Tribe experts in an instant, everyone was shocked. Their first reaction was to look at Chu Hen, who was standing next to Bai Qianyu. However, Chu Hen's face was similarly filled with astonishment. "It's not Big Brother Chu Hen?" Yi Yao was confused. Xiao Xiaowan, Long Xuan Xuang, Mu Feng, and the others looked at each other in shock. Buzz buzz. In the sky behind Mang City, clouds surged and thunder rumbled. A pair of purple eyes that looked like those of an ancient demon god quietly appeared in the distorted space. Demonic and demonic. It was like a god overlooking the world. It's the same eyes as Big Brother Chu Hen? It's a pair of demon eyes again. Yi Yao, Xiao Xiaowan, Mu Feng, and the others were shocked and puzzled. The eyes of the Dragon Blood Saint clan and the Radiant Saint clan were also filled with rage. Their faces were filled with grave expressions. Screech. There seemed to be an ancient and melodious chant in the air. Then, under everyone's shocked gaze, 8 black dots suddenly appeared in the depths of the purple demon eyes that appeared in the sky. Clang! It was like a bolt of lightning piercing through the sky and into the depths of everyone's soul. 8-star demon eyes. The expressions of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe changed drastically. Even the Light Sacred Tribe's deputy clan leader, Nangong Guangtong, could not help but clench his fists, his eyes filled with unprecedented caution. Rumble. Then, the ground cracked inch by inch, and beams of purple light shot up into the sky like dragons and pythons. The beams of light surrounded the eyes of the demon god in the sky and intertwined with each other at a speed visible to the naked eye, forming a giant demon spirit that was thousands of meters tall. The same strength as Chu Hen. However, the colossus in front of them was 3 times larger than the Nirvana demon spirit that Chu Hen had summoned. The armor that covered its body was even more piercingly cold and domineering. The solid and clear armor shone with purple light. Moreover, this Nirvana demon spirit had a pair of purple wings on its back that looked like a demon god's. Clang! Following that, thunder and lightning interweaved as the demon spirit of destruction clenched his fists in the air. Xiao Xiao, swirling chi patterns that tore through the sky, gathered in his palms. Following that, a black crack appeared in the space. Under everyone's astonished gazes, his palms were actually holding onto a gigantic purple sword in the spatial rift. The sword was surrounded by purple flames. The unconcealable, peerless sharpness stunned the heavens and the earth, causing the 9 heavens to darken. Murdering heaven slash. The Nirvana demon spirit's arms dragged the huge sword swaying with purple light as it slashed out. In an instant, a divine sword gleam that could slash through the heavens and the earth shot out. The ground was split open and a huge ravine was formed. The huge Mang City was directly split apart from the middle. The destructive sword gleam swept up a piercingly cold and extraordinary aura, piercing through Mang City and heading straight for Nangong Guangtong. The latter's expression changed. His eyes turned cold, and a monstrous amount of true origin energy was released from his body. Nangong Guangtong's palms faced each other, and a dazzling white light instantly condensed into a sun-like energy sphere. Nangong Guangtong's aura rose as he pushed his palms outward. The gorgeous energy sphere was like a rapidly expanding heavenly star, interweaving with thousands of dazzling lights as it faced the incoming purple sword gleam. Boom! Bang! As soon as the two collided, the heavens and earth collapsed, and the instantaneous explosion of a shockwave blasted both inside and outside of Mang City. However, in the next instant, the shocking purple sword gleam directly split the dazzling energy sphere that had expanded to several hundred feet in diameter. What? Everyone was shocked. Nangong Guangtong's expression changed even more. Clang! The purple sword gleam slashed at Nangong Guangtong with unstoppable might, along with the domain power that had been split apart. Bang! The terrifying aura crushed everyone present. As the city tower and palace were destroyed, Nangong Guangtong was sent flying, and a bloody wound rapidly opened up in the center of his chest. Nangong Guangtong was sent flying like a sandbag that had been struck by an extremely heavy force. He crashed into two palaces in a row before coming to a stop. Shock. It was an extremely horrified shock. The deputy clan leader of the Light Sacred Tribe, a transcendent existence at the half-emperor level. He could not even take a single blow from the other party. Buzz. A rapid cyclone spread in all directions, and the space above the Nirvana demon spirit distorted. On the left shoulder of the Nirvana demon spirit stood a powerful figure that emitted a mysterious aura. It's him. Chu Hen's pupil shrank. He had only seen that figure twice in his memory. However, there was an inexplicable sense of familiarity. He was gentle and easygoing, and he gave people a sense of closeness. Who goes there? A great Saint King from the Dragon Blood Saint clan barked. The other party slowly raised his head, revealing an easygoing but domineering middle-aged face. On his face, there are demonic eyes that are almost exactly the same as Chu Hen. Li Wuxiang of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. Rumble. Lightning flashed, and the winds howled. Li Wuxiang. Hearing these three words, Chu Hen felt as if his heartstrings were being pulled tightly by an invisible hand. He's finally here. He's finally here. A myriad of complicated emotions surged in Chu Hen's heart. His eyes burned, and he clenched his fists. The faces of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan and the Light Sacred Clan paled when they heard the name. Li Wuxiang of the Lone Star Guard. Fear immediately filled their faces. Let's go. There was no hesitation at all. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan looked at each other and understood what they were thinking. They had no confidence in winning against the Lone Star Guard of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, Li Wuxiang. Li Wuxiang. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan will remember what happened today. Just you wait for us to make you pay. With that, everyone from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan retreated from the battlefield, wanting to ride the wind and leave. However, Li Wuxiang's faint chuckle followed. Since you're here, don't leave. Standing on the shoulder of the 1,000-meter-tall demonic spirit, Li Wuxiang's demonic purple eyes released a powerful spatial pulse. As soon as he finished speaking, a ball of purple flames pounced toward the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Boom! A large area of space caved in rapidly, and a purple nebulous storm that ravaged the 9 heavens tore through the sky once again, overturning the sky above Mang City. How dare you! The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was both furious and fearful. There was no room for mercy at all. The purple storm instantly devoured the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Be it great sage kings or saint kings, they were all devoured by the purple whirlpool. Terrifying. Everyone was shocked to the extreme. This was the pure power of the Demon Eye. It was different from Chu Hen's Black Killer Thunder and other elemental powers. This was the original blazing desolation, Saint Demonic Flame. Is this the power of an 8-star Demon Eye? Chu Hen's eyes trembled with mixed feelings. A 7-star, an 8-star. Although there was a difference of 1 level, the difference in power was like heaven and earth. The dozen or so Dragon Blood Sacred Clan powerhouses were instantly annihilated. The people of the Light Sacred Clan were terrified. Go! Chu Qinghe, the city lord of Holy Doctor City, shouted. Without any hesitation, the Light Sacred Clan retreated in the direction Li Wuxiang had left. But right at this moment, a loud and impassioned dragon roar resounded through the 9 heavens. Roar! A huge, illusory dragon soared into the sky from the south of Mang City and pounced toward the Light Sacred Clan with a peerless might. Roar! Earth-shattering heavenly star, startling dragon god rage. Violent airwaves wreaked havoc in all directions. The people of Mang City, who were caught off guard, were blown back by the sudden appearance of the dragon shadow. They looked at the dragon. Long Qingyang, Chu Hen, and Long Xuanchuang could not help but widen their eyes. The three of them blurted out at the same time. 9-souled dragon seal. It's a happy day today. A few old readers who had given up on the book for a long time have returned. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for your support for the King of Gods. Good night, everyone. Chapter 1539. 9-souled dragon seal art. Violent shock waves wreaked havoc in all directions. The sudden appearance of the dragon silhouette was like a ferocious prehistoric beast, sending the fleeing Mang City group flying back. Bang! The earth-shattering shock waves crushed the ground. The Light's Sacred Race group was at a loss as they crashed into the buildings and the ground, coughing up mouthfuls of blood and looking battered. Then, like a tsunami, a wave of purple demonic flame swept over like a prairie fire. Amidst the chaotic cries of terror, Mang City and the other experts followed in the footsteps of the Dragon Blood Sacred Race group. Like ghosts burned by hellfire, they were instantly reduced to nothingness. The two waves of annihilation that came without warning surprised Mu Feng, Xiao Xiaowan, and Mo Qingli, and the others. Even Bai Qinyu looked at the scene in front of him in astonishment. At this moment, Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, and Long Xuanchuang wore extremely strange and complicated expressions. Their eyes were fixed in the direction where the dragon silhouette had appeared. Nine-souled dragon seal art. It was the nine-souled dragon seal art again. Apart from the three of them, there was no one else in this world who knew this martial art. Who was it? Who could it be? Dust filled the sky as the wind howled. At the back of the mansion where the chaotic cyclone was surging, a burly middle-aged man gradually appeared in everyone's line of sight. It turned from blurry to clear. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, and Long Xuanchuang's heartstrings involuntarily tightened. Long Qingyang knitted his brows, finding the figure somewhat familiar. Long Xuanchuang's jade-like hands clenched into fists, a complicated look in her cold eyes. The atmosphere was inexplicably tense. There was also an indescribable sadness. Looking at the tall and sturdy figure that was gradually approaching from afar, he felt a chill run down his spine. There was a familiar warmth in that formless and imposing aura. The scene from 10 years ago involuntarily surfaced in the trio's minds. Sacred Star Empire. Imperial capital, Imperial City. The tall and burly figure faced the countless experts of the Sacred Star dynasty and the rulers of the royal family. He had an imposing and domineering appearance. Today, the Divine Empress, in the presence of countless people present, personally promised me that as Long Zhan dies, she would spare Chu Hen's life. If the Divine Empress reneges on her promise, then I, Long Zhan, will ensure that my heroic soul is not extinguished, remaining in this world to protect my son. The figure was getting closer and closer. The aura in the air was so strong that it hurt people's eyes. Memories of the past overlapped with the scene in front of him. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, and Long Xuanchuang felt their hearts tremble. Yang Shuang Hen, the three of you are my Long Zhan's greatest pride in my life. I have no regrets in doing this. The man, who had always been strict, revealed a gentle and loving smile. His voice and smile were comforting, but also sorrowful. Don't be sad. Father will always be here. No matter where I am, I will always watch you grow. The scene in front of them and the scene in front of them switched back and forth. Every step the young man took was like stepping on the surface of the lake in the trio's hearts, creating waves after waves in their hearts. Remember, Father will always be watching over you three. Goodbye. Goodbye. We meet again. Uncle Zhan, Chu Hen shouted, then ran forward. Long Qingyang and Long Xuanchuang's eyes widened and reddened as they ran towards that figure. That's... Yiao's face was also filled with astonishment. Uncle Long Zhan, under the dust, the burly figure walking towards them was as valiant and extraordinary as he had been in the past. His dignified brows exuded a domineering aura, and he looked very similar to Long Qingyang. Uncle Zhan. Chu Hen was overwhelmed with emotion, tears welling up in his eyes as he knelt before the man. Uncle Zhan, my unfilial son, Chu Hen, kowtows to you. Henner. The man's voice was gentle as he also knelt on one knee and held on a Chu Hen's shoulder. Uncle Zhan, it's really you. Chu Hen hugged him like a child. Long Qingyang and Long Xuanchuang's eyes were also red with shock and doubt. They looked a little dazed, unable to believe that this was real. Father? It's really you. Long Zhan raised his head slightly, a warm and loving expression on his face. Yang Shuang, long time no see. You both grown up. Father. Long Qingyang knelt on the ground and hugged Long Zhan's broad arm with Chu Hen. Long Shuang, on the other hand, was in shock and disbelief. How could this be? How could you? It had been so many years. Long Zhan, who had burned himself to death in front of them, was now standing right before them. Long Shuang bit her lips. All of a sudden, she couldn't accept it. Why? Why did you lie to us? I'm sorry, Shuang. Long Zhan looked guilty. Is a simple sorry enough? Do you know what we've been through all these years? Do you know how painful it was for you to do that in front of us? Long Shuang's face was covered in tears. She remembered it clearly. She had screamed, begged, and cried hysterically. Then, she had to pretend to be strong and comfort Chu Hen, who was younger than her. Little did she know that Long Shuang, who looked as cold as ice on the surface, was only a little girl less than 20 years old. Every time she recalled what happened that day, it was like a nightmare tormenting her heart. Long Zhan sighed deeply. Shuanger, I've let you down. Long Shuang couldn't hold back her tears. She turned to the side and wiped away the tear stains on her face. It was a heart-wrenching sight. Chu Hen's godfather isn't dead. At the same time, the others came over one after another. Mu Feng and Yi Yao, who knew what had happened that year, looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. Bai Qinyu's eyes were also slightly moved. Her beautiful peach blossom eyes were tinged with sadness. After calming down a little, Chu Hen and Long Qingyang stood up with Long Zhan's help. Uncle Zhan, what's going on? In Chu Hen's heart, he was shocked, pleasantly surprised, and especially puzzled. Long Qingyang was also in disbelief. Dad, we saw you with our own eyes. Long Zhan didn't answer, instead turning to look behind the crowd. Chu Hen subconsciously turned to look. Li Wuxiang walked over with light steps, his gaze calm. I told him to do it. What? Long Shuang, Long Qingyang, and the others were shocked and looked at each other in confusion. Chu Hen's eyes narrowed as he looked at the person in front of him with an indescribably complicated expression. The man with the same eyes as him. It was as if everything had been carefully arranged by him. Who exactly are you? Chu Hen replied in a deep voice. Their eyes met, and the air vibrated rhythmically. Li Wuxiang raised his eyebrows and said word by word. One of Emperor Demon Eye's 4 guards. Lonely Star Guard. Li Wuxiang. Chapter 1540. Victorious East State. Kuan City. This was a courtyard built halfway up a mountain. Behind it was Mount Kunliu's sect, and in front of it was Kuan City's central district. Standing in this courtyard, one could have a panoramic view of the bustling streets of Kuan City when night fell. It was almost evening. The setting sun in the west lit up the sky red. In the courtyard, Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, and Long Shuang gradually calmed down. 10 years. Long Zhan's figure and appearance were the same, but there was a hint of vicissitudes in his brows. Long Qingyang, Long Shuang, and Chu Hen's changes were especially obvious. The childishness that had existed in them all those years ago had completely disappeared. Long Qingyang's features and aura were becoming more and more like Long Zhan himself. Long Shuang had also grown into a slender, elegant, and beautiful woman. As for Chu Hen, he was also the one who had the greatest change. This change did not exist in terms of his outer appearance, but in terms of his aura. I've let you down for hiding it from you all these years. Perhaps it was because his children had all grown up, but Long Zhan was no longer as strict as before. Long Shuang pursed her red lips, but didn't speak. A trace of redness could be seen in her eyes. Long Qingyang let out a deep breath. Father, compared to the fact that you're still alive, those things aren't important at all. It had to be said. The fact that Long Zhan wasn't dead was a great comfort to them. On the steps in front of the courtyard, Chu Hen looked at Long Zhan, who had returned. He couldn't help but feel like he was in a dream. You must have a lot of things to ask me, right? Li Wuxiang said in a calm, easygoing voice. Chu Hen turned to look at the middle-aged man he'd only met twice, but he still felt a sense of familiarity, just like the first time they'd met in Flame City. Li Wuxiang hadn't changed at all. He was cultured, easygoing, and gave off an aura of approachability. Chu Hen nodded. I've been looking for you. I know, Li Wuxiang replied. I'm waiting as well. Wait for what? When you reach the level I expect. Have I achieved it now? Chu Hen asked. Li Wuxiang turned to look at her deep and dark eyes, and then he shook his head. To be honest, it's quite far from what I expected. Too bad. This word was like a hammer pounding on Chu Hen's heart. He couldn't help but clench his fists. He didn't dare to believe Li Wuxiang's evaluation of himself. I originally planned to wait until you are at least at the same level as me before I stand in front of you. At the same level? Chu Hen frowned. Then why did you appear earlier? Shouldn't I be asking you? Li Wuxiang replied blandly. You made such a big commotion in Midland, and even revealed your identity as a member of the Demon Eyes clan. Didn't you do that to draw me out? Chu Hen's pupils shrank, and he clenched his fists. He didn't completely deny what Li Wuxiang said. Letting out a long breath, Chu Hen nodded. That's part of the reason, but I didn't think that Uncle Jean would be with you. Li Wuxiang smiled and didn't say anything. Although Chu Hen didn't go according to his plan, he was still able to lure him out, which was something that Li Wuxiang didn't expect. What do you already know? Li Wuxiang asked. Before this, Li Wuxiang said that he didn't know Chu Hen, and Chu Hen believed him. However, if the other party started to urgently want to see him, it meant that Chu Hen already knew some things. My parents, Chu Hen answered. Oh, Li Wuxiang was surprised. Chu Chuntian, Li Jixia, are my parents' names, right? Li Wuxiang raised his eyebrows slightly when he saw the expectation and passion in Chu Hen's eyes. He then nodded. Yes, it was the two of them who entrusted you to me back then. He admitted it, without any hesitation, especially resolute. Chu Hen once again clenched his fist tightly. This also showed that the scenes he saw in the martial ancestors' time wheel were real. Not long after he was born, the Demon Eyes clan suffered a great disaster. Where are the two of them now? Chu Hen paused after every word, as if he was asking with some difficulty. Li Wuxiang shook his head, a trace of emotion in his eyes. I can't answer that. Who can? Chu Hen pressed. Someone will. When? Soon, Li Wuxiang answered. Soon? Chu Hen's heart trembled when he heard that. He stared into Li Wuxiang's eyes. You won't lie to me this time, right? There's no need to hide it anymore. Someone will come looking for you in 3 days at most. You mean? That's right. Li Wuxiang confirmed. I've already notified the Demon Eyes clan. Someone will tell you what happened when the time comes. Even though Li Wuxiang had lied to him a few times, he still had an aura that made him have no choice but to trust him. Chu Hen nodded. All right, then I'll wait for 3 more days. Shortly after, he turned his gaze towards Long Jean, who was at the back of the courtyard. What about Uncle Jean? Why did you let him do that? Towards this point, Chu Hen expressed that he could not understand. With Li Wuxiang's cultivation, it would have been effortless for him to save him from the Sacred Star dynasty. So why did he have to trick Long Jean into faking his death? If it was only for the sake of tempering himself, they would be too cruel and ruthless. Li Wuxiang didn't answer immediately. He stared deeply into Chu Hen's eyes. He paused for a moment before continuing. Although your strength hasn't reached the level I expected, your inner demon is far more powerful than I imagined. Inner demon? Chu Hen's expression changed. What do you mean? It's already appeared, hasn't it? Li Wuxiang continued. Which? Chu Hen was even more confused. Li Wuxiang's eyes trembled, and he said 2 words that Chu Hen had never heard before. Heart beast. Heart beast. Whoosh. A formless wave of air seemed to ripple in the air. In an instant, the depths of Chu Hen's soul unconsciously trembled. What is this? Only those with the 10 strongest sacred bodies can summon primordial beasts. Li Wuxiang's voice made Chu Hen's heart beat faster. He continued, the 10 beasts are also known as the 10 heart beasts. The limit of the 10 most powerful sacred bodies can control their power, and they can also devour the summoner. What did you say? The 10 beasts can use the summoner's inner demon to control them. So I need you to continuously strengthen your inner demon and get used to suppressing the evil thoughts in your heart. Then, you'll finally obtain the power to summon the heart beast. Beasts! Beasts! Hearing these words, Chu Hen could not help but sink into contemplation. Hearing Li Wuxiang's words, Chu Hen couldn't help but think of the 2 times he'd felt a very strange and mysterious presence when his consciousness had been hazy. It was a very strange aura that seemed to originate from the endless dark void, but also seemed to originate from the chaotic universe. It was a mysterious, ancient power that originated from the dark river. There definitely had been. Chu Hen suddenly remembered. The first time he'd felt that mysterious presence was in the tomb of the demons and immortals, when he'd fallen into the Yama King's tomb. The second time was at the border between the Chaos Demon Realm and the God-forbidden Blood Prison. Both times, Chu Hen hadn't been able to see what it was. He'd thought it was the power of the sky diverting token. Now that he thought about it, it was a mysterious presence that was completely different from the sky diverting token. Seeing Chu Hen's blank expression, Li Wuxiang couldn't help but confirm. Looks like you've seen it before. P.S. Regarding the Heart Beast storyline, I've already buried a hole in it. If you didn't pay too much attention to it at the time, you can go back to Chapter 1090, The Reappearance of the Evil God, and Chapter 1455, The Inescapable Fate. These 2 chapters have foreshadowing for this chapter. You can go back and read it carefully. Chapter 1541. It looks like you've seen it already. Looking at Chu Hen's serious expression, Li Wuxiang couldn't help but confirm his guess. Heart Beast. Ancient beasts. The reason why the 10 strongest sacred bodies were called the strongest was not only because of the superiority of their bloodline power, but also because they could connect to the mysterious power that existed in another space. Chu Hen let out a deep breath. Between his eyebrows, traces of fear surged. Although he had only sensed that mysterious aura when his consciousness was hazy, he was sure that it was extremely powerful. It was as if the other party was testing him. What kind of existence is it? Chu Hen asked solemnly. Fear flashed through Li Wuxiang's eyes. It's so powerful that the entire world trembles. It's not an exaggeration to say that anyone who can control the power of the Heart Beast can become the leader of the strongest sacred race. The one who obtained the Heart Beast would control the sacred race. Chu Hen's expression changed. He looked up and said in a low voice, What about you? Can you summon the Heart Beast? The corners of Li Wuxiang's mouth rose in a self-deprecating smile. In fact, I haven't even sensed the aura of the Heart Beast. What? Chu Hen was shocked again. His face was full of disbelief. The other party had an 8-star demon ice sacred body. It was a powerful existence that could instantly kill the light sacred race's vice-patriarch. Even with Li Wuxiang's abilities, he had never seen the Heart Beast. Do you find it strange? Asked Li Wuxiang. Yes, you're clearly much stronger than me. I'm just stronger than you right now. Li Wuxiang stared into Chu Hen's eyes and said seriously, Chu Hen, the strength of your bloodline isn't something I can compare to. 8 stars is my limit, and you have endless possibilities. You, on the other hand, will have endless possibilities. One day, you might even reach the 9th star. 8 stars was Li Wuxiang's limit. 9 stars was his hope for Chu Hen. Chu Hen's scalp went numb. The blood in his body was boiling and restless. Why? Even you can't do it. That's because you're the son of Chu Rantian and Li Jixia. You're the first person in the history of the Demon Eye Sacred Clan to be able to sense the presence of a Heart Beast at the 7-star Demon Eye level. Li Wuxiang's tone was firm and certain. Following this, his eyes were filled with caution. Because of this, the Heart Beast has already been attracted by your Heart Demon. From now on, you must be more strict in controlling your Heart Demon. Only by defeating your Heart Demon will you have the right to control the Heart Beast. Sensing the seriousness in Li Wuxiang's words, Chu Hen's expression became indescribably grim. The reason why I asked Long Zhan to do that was to summon your inner demon and use it to train your willpower and state of mind. I hope that one day, you'll be able to control the power of the Heart Beast and bring it back to the world so that you can rule and restore the Demon Eye Saint clan. Reappear in the world? Chu Hen was startled. Has no one been able to control the Heart Beast before? Yes. Li Wuxiang answered with certainty. Emperor Demon Eye. Emperor Demon Eye. Hearing those 4 words, Chu Hen's heartstrings trembled. At the same time, he saw a hint of unconcealable sorrow in Li Wushang's eyes. There was no need to ask further. It was obvious that Emperor Demon I had most likely died. What had happened to the Demon I Saint clan all those years ago? Chu Hen could only wait for the Demon I Saint clan's people to arrive 3 days later. Only then would the mystery be solved. At the same time, Long Zhan brought Long Qingyang and Long Xuan to their side. Hunger, that thick and warm palm of Long Zhan, lightly held Chu Hen's shoulder and said, Mr. Li has put in a lot of effort for you all these years. Regarding the matters of your clan, I have also heard about it from him. Regardless of whether he went overboard or not, I hope you won't blame him. Chu Hen faintly smiled and reached out his hand to hold the palm of Long Zhan. Don't worry, Uncle Zhan. If you really had died in front of us all those years ago, I wouldn't have forgiven him. Long Xuan and Long Qingyang looked at Li Wushang with complicated expressions. Indeed, if Long Zhan's life had really been used as a whetstone for Chu Hen's inner demons, it would have been too heavy a price to pay. Fortunately, Li Wushang had saved Long Zhan in the end. The hardships he'd suffered in the past had been worth it. I heard that big brother Qingyang is back. Is that true? At this moment, an excited and gentle female voice came from outside the courtyard. Yes, big sister Yurong. He's inside with big brother Chu Hen. Someone seemed to have bumped into Yi Yao at the entrance of another courtyard. Then, a beautiful figure rushed into the courtyard in a panic. Yurong. Long Qingyang's face lit up when he saw who it was. He hurriedly ran up and pulled her into his arms. It really is you. Su Yurong's face was full of disbelief. She leaned against Long Qingyang's broad chest, tears welling up in her eyes. I'm sorry, Yurong. I made you wait for so many years. Long Qingyang said shamefully. It's all right as long as you're back safely. Long Zhan, who was standing next to Chu Hen, couldn't help but be stunned. Uncle Zhan, you still don't know? That's my sister-in-law. Chu Hen smiled. Long Zhan's eyes lit up. Oh, come, Yurong. Long Qingyang reached out and pulled Su Yurong in front of Long Zhan. Greet my father. Father? Su Yurong was confused. My father isn't dead. He's been alive all this time. Long Qingyang explained as he pulled Su Yurong in front of him, then said to Long Zhan, Father, this is Yurong. She's my sweetheart. Although Su Yurong was surprised, she still bowed obediently. Yurong greets uncle. Long Zhan's expression was one of excitement. He nodded repeatedly and hurriedly held Long Qingyang's shoulders. Good girl, no need to be so polite. It was like any father's wish for his children to start a family. Long Zhan's happiness was written all over his face. Big brother, I promised sister-in-law that I would kick you on her behalf when you came back. You've made me wait for so many years, but since you did it for a reason, I'll just give you a few punches. With that, Chu Hen punched Long Qingyang's chest twice. Ugh. Long Qingyang clutched his chest in pain. I say, third brother, who could take 2 punches from your demon, holy physique? You almost made me bleed. Su Yurong immediately stopped Chu Hen. Stop fooling around. You'll hurt him. No way. Sister-in-law, you weren't like this before. Chu Hen teased. Su Yurong blushed and pouted. I didn't agree to let you hit him. Really, forget it, forget it. You two should hurry up and get married. Now, that Uncle Zhan is back. All the good things are going to happen. Don't talk about me, what about you? You're not young anymore. Long Qingyang retorted. You're the eldest son, you should go first. Plus, I have a second sister before me. Yes, and and Shuang. Long Zhan was no longer as strict as before, instead looking lovingly at Chu Hen and Long Xuan. And the two of you, you're all grown up now. It's time for you to get married. Chu Hen only smiled. Long Xuan, on the other hand, had a strange expression on her face as she struggled out of Long Zhan's grasp. I still have things to do. With that, Long Xuan turned to leave. Everyone froze. What's wrong with her? Long Qingyang asked in confusion. The others shook their heads, indicating that they weren't sure. Though it was strange, they didn't think too much about it. Looking at the happy and harmonious family, Chu Hen's current mood also had an indescribable carefree feeling. Thank you for everything you've done all these years and for bringing Uncle Zhan back. Chu Hen turned around and said to Li Wushang next to him, The latter smiled, but didn't say anything. You gave my brother the jade pendant he wears, right? No. Li Wuxiang's reply was out of Chu Hen's expectations. No. Chu Hen froze for a moment. Long Xingyang's pendant had withstood the power of the Nine Dragons Cauldron's dragon soul flames. If it really was an ancestral treasure, how could it be so powerful? Li Wuxiang paused and turned to look at Long Zhan, who was not far away. The ancestors of the Long family have a portion of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's bloodline. They should be a branch that was expelled from the Dragon Blood Sacred race, or a branch that betrayed them. However, the sacred race bloodline in their bodies has been in a dormant state for several generations. On the other hand, Long Zhan's bloodline is showing signs of awakening. Oh, hearing his words, Chu Hen could not help but be a little surprised. The Long family still had a portion of the bloodline of the 10 strongest sacred clans. Long Xingyang had almost been used as a sacrifice by his own clansmen. Are you sure? Chu Hen couldn't quite believe it. Li Wuxiang replied calmly. Dragon essence isn't something that just anyone can devour. Just based on how harmoniously his and the dragon essence's energy converged, it's enough to prove this. Li Wuxiang smiled playfully. Only the main bloodline can use the dragon essence, but it was consumed by the descendant of a traitor from a branch. It's funny, with the dragon essence, I might be able to completely awaken the limit of the saint body bloodline in his body. Calm. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 1542. Not a night of music, flowers blooming like brocade. The night breeze blew past. Chu Hen's heart was like the ebbing tide, gradually returning to peace. He had to admit, Li Wuxiang's appearance put Chu Hen at ease for the time being. However, there were still many unsolved mysteries behind this peace of mind. There was anticipation. There was worry. At the same time, there was also the pressure of having a long way to go. Heart Beast, the ancient beast that controlled the strongest power in the world. In the entire Demon Eye clan, only the Demon Eye Emperor could summon it. He, who only had the 7-star demon eyes, was entrusted with such a heavy responsibility by Li Wuxiang. It was a heavy burden. However, Li Wuxiang's words, because you're the son of Chu Qintian and Li Zhixia, gave Chu Hen indescribable encouragement. These two names were like invisible pillars supporting Chu Hen's heart. He stood alone on the city tower. Li Wuxiang, Long Zhan, and the others had left at some point. Chu Hen didn't leave. His deep eyes gazed at the night view of Kuan City in front of him. He stood in silence, watching the hustle and bustle in the distance. At this moment, a tall but skinny middle-aged man slowly walked over. Chu Hen's lips curled into a gentle smile. He turned to look at the man. You look much more energetic than you did during the day. Senior Tooba. The newcomer was none other than Demon Man, Tooba Shah. He'd changed into a clean set of clothes and combed his messy hair neatly. His face was still a bit pale, but he no longer looked dispirited and disheveled. Tooba Shah also smiled faintly. He walked to Chu Hen's side. I heard from them that you were here, but it looks like you were waiting for me. Chu Hen smiled. You don't have to thank me. I'm just a bit surprised that you'd really save me. I thought I'd die in the patio prison. Tooba Shah answered. I said I'd save you. Chu Hen said. Anyway, thank you. Other than this, Elder Tooba, do you have anything else you want to say to me? Chu Hen looked at Tooba Shah's pale face. A hint of confusion flashed in the latter's eyes. He didn't seem to understand what Chu Hen was referring to. Senior Tooba, I've always been curious. Chu Hen's eyebrows arched up, a torch-like light surging in his eyes. Although the Radiant Saint race cannot compare to the 10 strongest saint races, they can still be considered a formidable race when compared to ordinary saint races. With their strength, it shouldn't be too difficult for them to capture Senior. Previously, Chu Hen did not know much about the Radiant Sacred Tribe. However, they later discovered that the strength of the Light Sacred Clan was much stronger than they had imagined. Compared to the continent's 5 elements Divine Clan and Moon Divine Clan, they were probably even stronger. Moreover, the Light Sacred Clan had established bases and strongholds throughout the eastern region, especially Mang City, where even the half-emperor deputy clan leader was stationed. With such a huge expenditure, it would be effortless for them to capture Tuoba Shah, who was not even in the ancient Eternal Realm. In reality, Tuoba Shah had been wandering in the eastern region for many years, and he had even helped Chu Hen several times in the past. With so much exposure, it was impossible for the Radiant's sacred tribe not to discover his whereabouts. Receiving Chu Hen's torchlight gaze, Tuoba Shah's eyes could not help but tremble. "Senior, you've also used the power of the Chitian token, haven't you?" Chu Hen asked. Tuoba Shah's expression changed. He clenched his fists and replied in a low voice, "You didn't destroy it? Destroy it?" Chu Hen's eyelids lifted. Within his pair of deep eyes, there seemed to be a gloominess that was like a whirlpool black hole. He faintly smiled and said, "Senior, do you know what has changed the most in these 10 years? What? The thing that has changed the most is not my cultivation, but my mind. Take Senior Li Wushang, for example. 10 years ago, he said that the boundary between our sacred physiques and mine was just a coincidence. I was so naive that I actually believed him. Just like when you gave me the Chitian token and asked me to destroy it, I also believed him. Naive, trusting others easily. In the past, Chu Hen had never doubted the good intentions of strangers. However, after going through so many things and changes, Yi Zichen didn't dare to say anything. Chu Hen was no longer the naive young man he used to be. He would think twice about the good intentions of any stranger. So, Chu Hen's deep eyes revealed a soul-penetrating probing. He stared at Tuoba Shah's uneasy face and said word by word, "I really want to know something from you, Senior. Did I accidentally meet you, who was at the end of your road, or did the Chitian token choose me?" Whoosh. Each word was like a needle piercing the eardrums. Tuoba Shah's expression instantly changed. He looked at Chu Hen's handsome and angular young face in disbelief. The look in the young man's eyes seemed to penetrate his soul, causing him to tremble inexplicably. Tuoba Shah couldn't help but tremble. His hands were tightly clenched together, his expression extremely complicated. In the end, it was Chu Hen who met Tuoba Shah, who was at the end of his road. Or it was the Chitian token who chose Chu Hen. These two sentences were like an invading cold wave, causing the surrounding temperature to become extremely agitated. After a while, Tuoba Shah's expression returned to normal. He didn't see any coldness in Chu Hen's eyes. Without a deep sigh, "You finally found out." Without a doubt, these words were like a key turning a lock. A clear sound came from Chu Hen's heart. "Yes, I did use the power of the Chitian token and came into contact with that person," Tuoba Shah said softly. "That person." A hint of caution appeared in Chu Hen's eyes. "But he wasn't satisfied with my body," Tuoba Shah continued. "That's why he chose me." "Yes." Tuoba Shah didn't deny it. He looked at Chu Hen resolutely and said, "He chose you." All the contradictions at this moment could be explained clearly. Why Tuoba Shah could avoid the Light Saint clan's pursuit for so many years. Why did Chu Hen meet him again and again? All of this seemed like a coincidence, but in fact, it was like a whirlpool full of conspiracy. Silently, it dragged Chu Hen into it. Before Tuoba Shah handed the Chitian token to Chu Hen, he would never be caught by the Light Saint clan. And once the box was handed to Chu Hen, it meant that Tuoba Shah had no value at all. So, the second sentence that Tuoba Shah said to Chu Hen was, "I'm surprised that you would save me." "Why?" Chu Hen said these 3 words solemnly. Tuoba Shah stared into his eyes, his voice cold. Chapter 1543. Because he wants to come out, Tuoba Shah enunciated each word, his voice unconsciously revealing a hint of coldness. Chu Hen's eyes narrowed slightly, and he couldn't help but frown. The two of them stared at each other. Tuoba Shah's eyes no longer had the uneasiness and impatience from before. Instead, it was replaced by an inexplicable coldness. This aura, it was somewhat similar to a demon. "This is your goal?" Chu Hen replied coldly. "That's not my goal. It's his order, and also your destiny. The moment you open that metal box, it became your destiny. The heretic god will come out." In an instant, Tuoba Shah seemed to have changed into a different person. He stared at Chu Hen's seemingly calm and handsome face, and a strange smile actually appeared at the corner of his mouth. This smile seemed familiar. It seemed to originate from the disdain of the huge figure on top of the mountain of corpses that was paved with white bones. "You are not Tuoba Shah." Chu Hen stared at the other's strange face and said, "Ha ha ha ha. I really look forward to the day when I return on your body, and that day won't be too far away." A mocking and sinister smile appeared on Tuoba Shah's face, and then his eyes began to spin like a black whirlpool. Tuoba Shah's originally normal eyes suddenly lost the whites of his eyes, leaving only a pair of inky black pupils. The cold wind was like frost, and a cold current suddenly rose. A chilling, fierce, and evil aura swept out in all directions. Shing! In an instant, a formless and powerful spatial rhythm leaked out from Chu Hen's eyes. Chu Hen's eyes involuntarily turned into a demonic purple pupil. The 7 black dots in the depths of his pupils chased after each other, and the shocking aura caused the space around them to rapidly distort. Demonic Eye automatically activated. "Scram!" Chu Hen sternly shouted. The formless power crushed towards Tuoba Shah, and the latter's body trembled violently. Then his black whirlpool-like pupils actually spun in the opposite direction. At the same time, the evil energy on his body quickly faded. "Not bad. I look forward to meeting you again." The dreamy voice that reverberated between heaven and earth gradually faded away from Chu Hen's ears. As Tuoba Shah's eyes returned to normal, his knees buckled and his entire body collapsed. "Elder Tuoba." Chu Hen instinctively reached out to support the other party. Tuoba Shah, who looked a little weak, lifted his eyelids and looked at Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes. He couldn't help but be a little surprised. "What are you doing?" Then, Tuoba Shah came to a sudden understanding. Chu Hen's expression was somewhat complicated. After a moment of hesitation, he said in a meaningful tone, "You can leave." Tuoba Shah was stunned. Also, I won't let him out," Chu Hen said solemnly. He could not help but reveal the domineering aura of an emperor. Tuoba Shah's lips moved slightly, but he didn't say anything. In the end, he didn't say anything. "Farewell." With that, Tuoba Shah turned around and slowly disappeared into the night. Looking at the back of the other party, merging into the darkness, Chu Hen's demonic godlike eyes were still solemn. Even though Tuoba Shah getting close to him was deliberate and not a coincidence. But he still couldn't kill him. Maybe Tuoba Shah had given him a chance to choose. He had warned himself to destroy the thing in the metal box, but he had made another choice. He opened the box that contained the Chi Tian token. Evil God. Chu Hen clenched his fists tightly. Just now, that was the first time he met the evil god's eyes in real life. Although it had only been less than 3 seconds, just a glance from the other party was enough to trigger the active defense of his demonic eye, from the contact with his divine sense, and then from the real confrontation just now. That evil aura that came from the source of all evil seemed to be getting closer and closer to him. I won't let you out. I definitely won't." Chu Hen clenched his fists tightly, his eyes filled with determination. At this moment, a somewhat hurried figure came towards Chu Hen. "What's wrong? Did the inner demon rise again?" Looking at the nervous expression on by Qian Yu's face, Chu Hen's heart warmed a little as he smiled and shook his head. "Why are you here?" By Qian Yu's beautiful eyes were like water, filled with a little concern. "I don't know why either. I just felt the evil aura on your body and thought that you were starting to lose control of your inner demon." Bai Qinyu had always known that Chu Hen's inner demon was very strong. When they first met in the Immortal and Devil Tomb, she had helped Chu Hen to calm his inner demon. And later on, about the Chi Qian token, Bai Qinyu also knew everything. It's because of the Chi Qian token, right? You have to find a way to take it out of your body. If one day you can't suppress it, the consequences will be very dangerous. Bai Qinyu said solemnly. Seeing the trace of worry in her eyes, Chu Hen smiled and subconsciously put his hands on her delicate shoulders. "I'm fine. Don't be nervous." Bai Qinyu sighed softly. "Your inner demon is really too strong. to the point that the heretic god and the heart beast are after you. Wow. It seems like I can't hide anything from you. You actually know everything about me. Tell me honestly, have you liked me for a long time? Who likes you? I'm talking about serious matters with you right now. Before Bai Qinyu could finish speaking, Chu Hen exerted force in his arms and pulled him into his embrace. Bai Qinyu, who was caught off guard, didn't even have time to react before she was tightly pressed against his chest. You don't move. I'm just hugging you for a while. Chu Hen's somewhat gentle voice lightly passed into the other party's ears. Bai Qinyu's faint body fragrance was very pleasant. The fragrance that originated from her hair invaded Chu Hen's nose. Hugging her in his arms, there was an indescribable sense of security. Bai Qinyu's beautiful eyes rippled as she let Chu Hen hug her tightly. She rested her head on his shoulder and gently patted Chu Hen's back. What's wrong with you today? You're acting like a child. Because I'm very scared. Chu Hen closed his eyes, smelled the other party's delicate fragrance, and said softly, "What are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid of everything. I'm afraid that the people I trust will leave me. I'm also afraid that the people I care about are deceiving me. And I'm afraid of the consequences that I don't dare to face." Chu Hen subconsciously hugged her tighter. At this moment, it was as if Bai Qinyu was his pillar of support. It was as if he was under great pressure. The pressure came from all directions. There was an unquenchable fear in Chu Hen's heart. "Come with me to the demon I sacred clan in 3 days. Bai Qinyu was stunned. "I want you to be by my side," Chu Hen murmured in a half-asleep state. Bai Qinyu didn't say anything. Her lily-white hands on Chu Hen's back couldn't help but clench together. Under the bright moonlight, the two of them hugged each other, the bustling noise in the distance like a backdrop of stars. Life in this world, they often felt that the world was really small. They were originally two strangers, but they later found out that they actually had a lot of connections. Maybe it was a good fate. Maybe it was an ill-fated fate. People would always have a very magical connection. Usually, this kind of coincidence was called fate. The silent wheel of fate, as if inadvertently, quietly began to turn. Chapter 1544. In the silent and gloomy ancient hall. It was like the border where gods and dark devils met. There seemed to be a low and majestic ancient aura floating in the air. In the palace shrouded by the nightmare, the space appeared to be distorted like a mirror. In the darkness, the ethereal voice seemed to originate from the chaotic universe. "That child has appeared with the Lone Star Guard and Li Wushang from the Demon Eye Saint clan. I believe it won't be long before they return to the Demon Eye Saint clan." The voice came from the right side of the hall. "I already know about this. It seems like there's no need to pay attention to it." A voice came from the left side of the hall. "Li Zhixiao's clan bloodline is quite powerful. Her talent is not much worse than her brother's. If that child returns to the Demon Eye Saint clan, it's very likely that he'll summon the heart beast of their clan and become the new Demon Eye Emperor." The voice on the right replied. However, the voice on the left did not care. No matter how powerful Li Zhixia's bloodline is, it's still no match for the Demon Eye Emperor. Even the Demon Eye Emperor has fallen. No matter how talented a junior is, he won't be able to achieve anything in a short period of time. But don't forget that apart from the Demon Eye Saint clan, he has another identity. That child's biological father is Chu Rantian. It's very likely that he still has the bloodline of that clan. So what? It's a clan that has long fallen. Too much time has passed. I'm afraid you've forgotten the fear of being dominated by that clan. Don't forget how long the 10 strongest sacred clans have been under his control. That man is so powerful that he can even kill the heart beast. The fear of domination. A formless cold aura quietly spread in the hall. That clan has long become history. The voice on the left was still disdainful, but the tone was no longer as arrogant as before. At this moment, a calm and indifferent voice came from the top of the hall. "Fear has long been buried in the past. No one can dominate us now." The indifferent voice seemed to come from the boundless abyss region. It caused gentle ripples in the vast heaven and earth. Since you've said so, there's nothing for us to worry about. What are you going to do? The left and right sides of the palace spoke one after another. Ignore him. All right, do as you see fit. I'll be leaving first. I'll also take my leave. Buzz. The next moment, it was as if two balls of netherworld flames were ignited in the darkness. Accompanied by the distortion of space, the two auras on the left and right sides of the hall sank into the night. In the silent hall, it was as if he was being eroded by the giant claws of a nightmare. At the top of the cold and quiet hall, a figure shrouded in darkness sat quietly on the stone throne like an emperor. Wah! Suddenly, his eyes opened. An invisible rhythm spread out, and the pair of mysterious and domineering eyes flashed with a hint of sacred golden light. The Eastern region, Eastern Victory State, Kuan City. Are you guys leaving so soon? Chu Hen asked as he looked at Mu Feng, Xiao Xiaowan, and the others. Yes, there's an urgent summon from the demon region. They want me and Haozi to go back immediately. Mu Feng said in a deep voice. Haozi, who was visiting his family and friends in the 100 Kingdoms state, also returned to Kuan City yesterday afternoon. Urgent summon? Did they say anything? Chu Hen asked. Mu Feng shook his head. No, they just want me to go back as soon as possible. Although Mu Feng was a human, he had fused with the demon Thearchus skeleton and was highly regarded by the demon region. Mu Feng knew this too. He couldn't ignore the summon from the demon region's higher-ups. At the same time, Xiao Xiaowan also received a summon from the ancestral butterfly race. Chu Hen nodded. All right, if there's anything, send someone to inform me. Hee, there's definitely nothing else. As for you, if there's any good news, don't forget to tell us brothers. Mu Feng smiled slyly and winked at Chu Hen. Chu Hen glanced sideways and glanced at Bai Qingyu beside him. He smiled helplessly. Qingkai, Qingyi, are you guys coming with us? Xiao Xiaowan asked casually. Yes, I was just about to say that. Zhao Qingyi nodded and gave her affirmation. She then looked at Chu Hen and said, We've been out for quite a while. It's about time for us to go back. The martial union is being established. Let's go back and see if there's anything we can help with. If Zhao Qingyi and Zhao Qingkai were to go back, Qing Xue would naturally follow them back to Hidden Sky City. Looking at Qing Xue's expression, she seemed to be reluctant to leave. Big brother Chu Hen, when are you going back? Qing Xue asked with her big, watery eyes. Chu Hen smiled and rubbed her head. I still have things to do. Once I'm done here, I'll go back soon. Then you have to be quick. I will. Chu Hen smiled. Why don't I go back to Midland too? At this moment, Mo Qingli walked up and said. Chu Hen was stunned for a moment. He then looked at Qing Xue in front of him and hesitated for a while before nodding at Mo Qingli. All right, there's a lack of manpower in the inner prefecture. Help me take care of Qing Xue. Mo Qingli nodded with tacit understanding. Leaving so many people at once, it's a little unsuitable for me, Yi Yao said with a little sadness. Sister Yi Yao, do you want to go play with Big Brother Mu Feng in the demon region? Maybe you can meet that fox. I'm not going. I need to hurry up and cultivate. If I can't improve my cultivation, I'll be a burden to Big Brother Chu Hen. Yi Yao replied. That's true. Mu Feng agreed. Brother Qing Yang has already reached the Great Saint King realm, so I should hurry up on my side. Wait for me. With that, Mu Feng snapped his fingers. I'll go into seclusion when I get back. When I come back, you should all call me Demon Emperor Mu Feng. The other party's shameless attitude immediately caused everyone to roll their eyes. Atao, I'm leaving goodbye. Qing Xue turned around and said to the two little fur balls playing with each other in a corner not far away. One of them was a little monkey with golden fur. The other was the yin-yang beast Noni. The little monkey seemed to be a little interested in Noni and would come up to tease it from time to time. On the other hand, Noni showed his arrogant nature and ignored the little monkey. Hearing Qing Xue's call, the little monkey immediately climbed up from Noni's claws and jumped up to Qing Xue's shoulder. Gee, the little monkey rubbed its furry claws and made a crooked sound. Do you want to go with me? Qing Xue asked in confusion. Gee. The little monkey quickly nodded. Everyone was startled. Chu Hen was also startled. This little monkey actually liked Qing Xue so much. After all, it was his summoned beast. Logically speaking, It should be closer to Chu Hen. Brother Chu Hen, can Tao go with me? Qingxue asked obediently. The little monkey also opened its big round eyes, as if it was asking for Chu Hen's permission. Of course, if it is willing. Qingxue's eyes lit up. Thank you, Brother Chu Hen. I will take good care of Tao. Gee. The little monkey was also very excited. It even used its furry little head to rub against Qingxue's cheek, making the little girl giggle. Woo! On the other side, Noni seemed to be a little dissatisfied, its eyes filled with arrogance and disdain. The little monkey squatted on Qingxue's shoulder and made a face at Noni. It was a little naughty, but also very cute. Everyone was amused and couldn't help but feel that it was very intelligent. After saying goodbye, Mu Feng, Haozi, Xiao Xiaoan, Han Yichuan, Zhao Qingyi, Qingxue, and Imo Qingli started their journey back to Midland. Chu Hen, Long Xuan, Yi Yao, and Bai Qinyu stayed in Kuan City for the time being. Everyone, thank you for taking care of my third brother, Chu Hen, all these years. If there's a chance in the future, I, Long Qingyang, will definitely repay your kindness. Long Qingyang, Su Yurong, and Long Zhan all came out to see them off. Brother Long Qingyang, you're too kind. We'll be leaving now. We'll meet again in the future. It's a small world. See you again. Have a safe trip. Goodbye. Midland came in groups. Half of them left in a flash. Life was like that. Separated, reunited, gathered, and dispersed. Watching everyone disappear into the horizon, Chu Hen's eyes were filled with an indescribable emotion. Don't worry, we'll meet again. Bai Qinyu gently held Chu Hen's hand and smiled. Chu Hen faintly smiled, and definitely. Then, everyone returned to the inner mansion of Kuan City. Walking on the city gate tower, they still felt a little lonely. Suddenly, at this moment, a piercingly cold airflow suddenly attacked. A strong gust of wind rose, and waves of air surged. Everyone's heart jumped. Before they could react, 3 beams of light descended from the sky, landing on the inner city gate tower like rainbows. A formless transcendent aura spread out. In the faintly twisting space, 2 men and a woman appeared in front of everyone. All 3 of them looked rather young, had an extraordinary temperament, and were rather handsome. Their bodies exuded an innate aura of aloofness and arrogance. Who are you? Long Qingyang frowned and asked in a low voice. One of them glanced at Long Qingyang. Then he asked, Where's the Lone Star Guard? Calm. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 1545. Where's the Lone Heavenly Star Guard? Whoosh! Invisible waves of air spread out in all directions, and a wave of uneasy rhythm appeared in the air. 1 was a heaven-rank Great Saint King. 2 were earth-rank Great Saint Kings. As soon as the 3 of them appeared, they emitted a powerful spatial aura. Chu Hen could not help but clench his fists as excitement filled his eyes. You're here. A calm and gentle voice entered everyone's ears as Li Wushang appeared on the other side of the square. The 3 of them raised their eyebrows. Then they cupped their fists and greeted Li Wushang, who was walking over. I'm Xiaoguang, Yi Kong, Qingwen. Greetings, Lord Li Wushang. The 3 of them bowed slightly. There was a hint of respect in their voices as well. Li Wushang asked indifferently, Whose subordinates are you? The young man called Xiaoguang, who was the leader, looked up and said, Lord Li Wushang, our master is the Heavenly Wolf Star Guard. So, you're Rao Fei Luan's subordinates. Li Wushang raised an eyebrow slightly as a hint of a smile flashed in his eyes. Lord Li Wushang, the 3 of us are here on the 4th Elder's Order. May I know where the outer young master you mentioned in your letter is? Over there, following Li Wushang's finger. The 3 people's gazes simultaneously swept towards where Chu Hen and the others were. Soon after, Chu Hen also walked forward on his own. So, this is the outer young master that Lord Li Jixia gave birth to. Nice to meet you. Xiaoguang cupped his fists slightly with a smile on his face. On the other hand, the other 2 were a little suspicious. They seemed to be surprised by Chu Hen's cultivation base. The young woman called Qing, when whispered to the person next to her, He's only a mortal rank Great Saint King. There was a hint of disdain in her voice. Yikong raised an eyebrow as a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. Chu Hin also saw the change in the expressions of the three of them. He did not say anything as he cupped his hands together and returned the greeting. I've been waiting here for a long time. When will we be able to return to the demon, sacred clan? Chu Hin was still a little anxious in his heart. He desperately wanted to know about those unknown past events. However, the three of them did not reply. Instead, they turned their gazes towards the solitary star guard and Li Wuxiang. The latter said calmly, "Do you have any questions?" "I dare not." Xiaoguang lowered his head slightly, glancing sideways at Chu Hin as he seemed rather hesitant. "Just say what you want," said Li Wuxiang. "Lord Li Wuxiang, before we came out, the higher-ups of the clan asked us to verify if young Lord Outer has the ability to return to the Demon Eye Saint clan." The ability to return to the Demon Eyes clan? Long Qingyang and the rest behind Chu Hin were infuriated by his words. "What do you mean by this? My third brother is a blood relative of your clan. Does he not even have the right to return to the clan?" In response to Long Qingyang's harsh questioning, Long Qingyang's eyes widened. The three of them did not refute. To be more precise, he didn't care to explain. This was suggested by Rao Feilwan. Li Wuxiang asked calmly. Xiaoguang did not deny it, nor did he admit it. He only answered, "We are only acting on orders. Please forgive us, Lord Li Wuxiang." "I have no objections," said Li Wuxiang. "No way?" Yi Yao expressed her displeasure as well. Chu Hin was of the bloodline of the Demon Eye Saint clan. Now, he was being obstructed like this when he returned home. "Aren't you going a little too far?" Yi Yao was just about to speak when Chu Hin raised his hand to stop her. He then asked, "How can I prove that I have the ability to return to the Demon Eye Saint clan?" "Young Lord Outer, you only need to defeat me, and you can return." Xiaoguang, who was a great saint king of the heaven realm, walked forward with a gentle smile. Behind him, Qingwen and Yi Kong exchanged a look, both reading the playfulness in each other's eyes. Just this. Chu Hin raised his brows slightly. "Yes," Xiaoguang answered. "Huh." Chu Hin laughed, his eyelids raising slightly as the corners of his mouth curled somewhat playfully. "I have an even better suggestion." "Oh," Xiaoguang was taken aback. "Please speak, young Lord Outer." "How about?" Chu Hin's voice paused. Accompanied by a piercingly cold wind, his pitch-black pupils shockingly turned into a pair of bewitching purple pupils. "The three of you can come at me together." Li. The sharp sound of the air caused the surrounding space to distort uneasily as a formless, powerful aura directly invaded the minds of the three like the gaze of a primordial demon god. As the other party's words fell, a demonic purple light instantly surfaced in the eyes of Xiaoguang, Qingwen, and Yikong. It was as if the defensive mechanisms of their bloodline had inadvertently been activated. In that instant, 4 pairs of purple demonic pupils faced off in midair. "Huh." A slight smile appeared on Xiaoguang's face. "Wouldn't it be a little inappropriate for young Lord Outer to want to deal with the three of us at once?" Chu Hin answered calmly. "To tell the truth, it would really be a little too low of a level for just you to be able to return to the clan alone. Both of you have demonic pupils, but I can't feel any threat from your eyes at all." Provocation. A great provocation. While clearly speaking in the calmest of tones, his words contained a sharpness that could cut through one's heart. The faces of the three darkened. This was especially so for Xiaoguang, who seemed to have been greatly despised. A sinister smile appeared on his face. "Since young Lord Outer has already said so, the three of us can only offend you." Rumble. As his words fell, purple magma suddenly erupted from Xiaoguang's body like a volcanic eruption. "Ewo!" A loud, impassioned dragon roar reverberated throughout the heavens and earth. In that instant, a massive purple dragon swept forth with the momentum of splitting the heavens as it lunged towards Chu Hin. "All of you retreat," Chu Hin said to Bai Qinyu, Long Qingyang, and the others behind him. Roar. At the same time, the ground of the plaza behind Chu Hin collapsed layer by layer as an even more domineering purple lightning dragon shot into the heavenly river, colliding with the incoming dragon's silhouette. As the two met, the heavens and earth darkened. Thousands of purple fireballs of various sizes seemed to explode wantonly within the air as innumerable thunderbolts pierced through the heavens like interweaving nets, locking down the skies above Kuan City. It actually integrated the power of thunder and lightning. A look of shock appeared on Xia Guang's face. So what? He dares to challenge the three of us with his mortal stage Great Saint King cultivation base? He's practically asking to be humiliated. Yi Kong sneered. Then his body moved, leaving a series of afterimages in the air. In an instant, he appeared in front of Chu Han. Be careful, young Master Y. With a frivolous sneer, Yi Kang's right palm dragged along countless bewitching purple glows as he swung it towards Chu Han. As he moved, the rapidly intertwining patterns of purple light immediately formed a bunch of thorny blades. The sharp blades tore through the air like an aurora shuttle as they stabbed towards Chu Han. The corners of Chu Han's eyes narrowed slightly as purple lightning surged from his palm as well. Hiss, hiss, like fleeting shadows, lightning flickered. A short dagger condensed in Chu Han's palm. Ding! Bang! The thorny blades clashed with the short dagger, causing a series of sparks and fire to erupt in the air. The two's attacking rhythm instantly reached an extremely high speed as a series of afterimages swept past each other as they instantly completed dozens of close combat moves. So fast. Yi Yao exclaimed. Yeah. Bai Qinyu nodded, her beautiful eyes slightly rippling as her red lips parted slightly. The demon eye can observe the direction of the opponent's power and can accurately predict the opponent's next move. In close combat, both of you know the opponent's next move, so the rhythm of the attack will constantly be accelerated. Both of you know the opponent's next move, so how do you win? It's easy to say, you just need to attack faster than the opponent's reaction speed. That way, even if the opponent knows where you're going to attack next, he can't react in time, so there's nothing you can do about it. Bai Qinyu replied. Chu Han's speed is even faster, Long Xuan said. The moment the words fell, a purple electric arc flashed in the depths of Chu Han's eyes. Hiss! Countless bolts of lightning surged out from his body. Domain, 1,000 lightning escape. In an instant, the endless cold, killing momentum twisted the space, and countless sharp purple electric thorns appeared in the air. A dense murderous aura pressed down on Yi Kong. Beams of light with penetrating power interweaved and attacked, completely blocking all of Yi Kang's escape routes. The corner of the latter's mouth curved into a mocking smile. Punishment shield buzz. Under the trembling space, a circular purple light screen shield suddenly appeared around Yi Kang's body. Complex purple light flashed up and down the arc, and a pair of purple evil eyes flickered. Ha! The corner of Chu Han's mouth also curled up. He condensed his 5 fingers in the air, and a dark gray light spread out from his palm. Power of desolates. A circle of dark gray light, like a halo on the surface of water, swept out from Chu Han's palm. Along with the world that had sunk into darkness, the round purple light shield around Yi Kang's body suddenly became dim, without the slightest bit of luster. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Beams of extremely sharp purple lightning thorns swept up a powerful penetrating force and directly pierced the light shield. At the same time that the terrifying sharpness shattered Yi Kang's punishment shield, it also attacked his opponent's body. As if he was surrounded by sea urchins, Yi Kang's expression changed slightly, and his purple pupils reflected the extremely sharp electric thorns. Well done, Brother Chu Han. Yi Yao clapped her hands excitedly. But in the next moment, Yi Kong, who was surrounded, suddenly exploded into a purple flame and disappeared in front of Chu Han. What happened? Everyone was shocked. Bai Qinyu turned his gaze to the young woman on the other side, Qing Wen. He saw her forming a seal with both hands, and the 6 black dots in the depths of her demonic eyes emitted a dreamy, distorted rhythm. It's an illusion. Chapter 1546. It's an illusion. Looking at the young woman named Qing Wen, Bai Qinyu frowned slightly, a hint of surprise in her beautiful peach blossom eyes. Beside her, Long Qingyang, Long Xuan, and Yi Yao were also shocked. Looking to the side, they saw that the space Qingwen was in was strangely distorted, like a dreamy scene. Especially her pair of demonic purple eyes. The 6 dots in the depths of her eyes gave off an unreal illusion of rippling water. Isn't Brother Chu Hen's demon eye the bane of illusion? Yi Yao asked hurriedly. Even so, she should specialize in illusion, and she has the bloodline limit of the demon eye. I don't think the demon eye will be able to see through her illusion. Before Bai Qinyu could finish, Qingwen's hands formed a seal again. Rise. Along with the strong spatial rhythm, Qingwen's eyes emitted a circle of ripple-like light. In an instant, the area where Chu Hen was suddenly turned into a body of water. Moreover, in Chu Hen's vision, the body of water instantly turned into a vast sea. On the surface of the sea, Chu Hen looked isolated and helpless. Young Master Wai, it's good to be confident, but if you're too careless, you'll only be humiliating yourself. Yi Kang's obviously proud laughter came from behind Chu Hen. Whoosh! Following that, the water surface behind Chu Hen rapidly split apart. At the same time, a sharp aura of qi invaded. The corner of Chu Hen's eyes turned cold, and he turned around. A water film quickly rose from behind Chu Hen and immediately turned into Yi Kang's figure. The other party once again raised a sharp blade and swung it at Chu Hen. Chu Hen's eyes flashed coldly. Whoosh! Afterimages flashed in the air, and a circle of ripples appeared under Chu Hen's feet as he flashed behind the other party. A series of electric arcs crisscrossed, and a gorgeous purple lightning bolt directly penetrated Yi Kang's chest from behind. Hua! But in the next moment, Yi Kang's body once again exploded into a spray of water, sliding down between Chu Hen's fingers to the side of his feet. Buzz, the reflection of Chu Hen in the water, was startled. However, what was surprising was that the reflection under Chu Hen's feet was not Chu Hen himself, but someone else. Xia Guang, a heaven-ranked great saint king. Xia Guang's reflection in the water revealed an arrogant and playful smile. Silent burial, storm. Chu Hen's pupils shrank slightly. He immediately leaped up and retreated to the sky behind him in extremely fast speed. At the same time that Chu Hen dodged, a deafening explosion rang out. A purple vortex instantly erupted like a devastating storm, sweeping towards Chu Hen. The incomparably violent shockwave of energy crushed the space, like a purple tsunami that could overturn the sky, rushing all the way towards Chu Hen. The entire square was trembling. The city tower was instantly filled with cracks and fissures. Even though the purple firestorm was exceptionally violent, Chu Hen had managed to avoid the center in time, not suffering too much from it. However, not waiting for Chu Hen to stabilize his figure, Xia Guang suddenly appeared in the air in front of Chu Hen like a ghost. It seems that young master is having a bit of trouble. Even though I feel that this is rude, I still want to tell you, the 3 of us were personally trained by Lord Heavenly Wolfstar Guard. We've once exchanged close to 1,000 blows with a half-emperor without being at a disadvantage. With that, Xia Guang's eyes surged with a piercing purple light. He raised his palm towards Chu Hen's direction. His 5 fingers condensed, and he clenched the air. Silent burial, rising dragon. Roar! Roar! Several overlapping dragon roars resounded in the air above Kuan City. 4 ferocious and terrifying purple dragon silhouettes shockingly rose around Chu Hen. What's going on? At the same time, everyone inside and outside Kuan City was disturbed by this mighty disturbance. The 3 hall masters of Mount Kuan City, Shan Zhen, Qi Qianying, and the other disciples were rushing over. Even Long Qingyang, Long Xuan, and the others were shocked as they stared at the 4 majestic dragon shadows that seemed to be able to tear the sky apart. Why is the power of their demon eyes different from Big Brother Chu Hen's? Yi Yao exclaimed in confusion. It's very normal, Bai Qinyu answered. No matter what kind of sacred physique it is, apart from the power of its bloodline, its possessor can also alter it and create even more powerful moves and secret arts. It was true that the Demon Eyes bloodline was powerful. However, those who possessed such a powerful bloodline would try to extend the power of their demon eyes further, either with the help of others or by developing stronger arts on their own. Xia Guang, Qing Wen, and Yi Kong were all disciples personally taught by the Heavenly Wolf Star Guard. Each of them had their own unique demon eyes secret arts. Moreover, the three of them had worked together for more than a day or two. It could be said to be watertight and flawless. Although Li Wuxiang had never personally taught Chu Hen had also fused the profound Killer Thunder and other elemental powers into his demon eyes. This could also be considered as extending the power of the demon eyes into the realm of creation. Big Brother Chu Hen's demon eyes are 7 stars, while they are only 6 stars. He'll definitely win, Yi Yao said uncertainly. Logically speaking, one 7-star should be able to suppress 3 6-star cultivators, but Bai Qinyu's beautiful eyes rippled slightly as she stared at the sky in front of them. He doesn't seem to be planning on using the power of the 7-star demon eyes. Rumble, wind, and thunder roared, their ferocious might shaking the heavens. Under numerous pairs of astonished gazes, the 4 sinister and frightening purple demonic flame dragon phantoms whistled towards Chu Hen, who was in the middle, with the momentum of returning to their origin. The mountain-like pressure completely enveloped him. In the face of such a fierce attack, Chu Hen's eyes flashed with a series of dazzling lights. Heaven and earth within the vast Koan city began to emit a strange rhythm. Wind and clouds surged, blotting out the sky. The source energy of heaven and earth, as well as the spirit chi of all living things, flowed like 100 rivers into the sea. All of it gathered towards Chu Hen's palms. Plunder all things, heaven and earth returned to origin. Clang! An earth-shattering sound caused the sky to immediately cave in. Colorful divine light comparable to the sun, moon, and stars blossomed from Chu Hen's body. Chaotic elements extreme. The monstrous might of the eruption of the mountain torrent rose from the 4 enormous dragons. Giant light pillars emitting the divine might of the chaotic world broke through the heavenly net and swam out. Hiss! Hiss! The fearsome pillars of light were like divine blades that could split the heavens. One after another, they pierced through the enormous bodies of the 4 flaming dragon silhouettes. Heaven and earth trembled, and the 9 heavens churned. The distorted space tore and expanded. Boom! With a heavy boom, a destructive shockwave exploded in the sky like a nebula explosion. The sky was filled with whirlpools of light, mixed with the surging purple waves. With an earth-shattering momentum, they crushed towards the surroundings of Koan City. Not good. The expressions of Shan Zhen and the others changed drastically. The 3 palace masters also turned pale with fright. Once this terrifying shockwave was released, the entire center of Koan City would be razed to the ground. However, at this moment, Li Wuxiang's eyes widened. His calm and easygoing eyes flashed with purple light. Buzz! Suddenly, a faint purple illusory canopy appeared in the sky above the city tower plaza. The ferocious and terrifying shockwave was like a tide that had crashed into a rock wall, bouncing back. Everyone on Koan, Lu Mountain couldn't help but sigh in relief. At the same time, they cautiously looked at the chaotic sky above the plaza. Violent forces that distorted space intertwined with each other. Rapid air currents resembled madly dancing sand. Chu Hen was in the middle of the hurricane, and the various attributes of power lingering around his body emitted an uneasy rhythm. It looks like Outer Young Master was unable to completely block the power of my returning to the heavens rising dragon. Feeling that evidently chaotic aura of Chu Hen, a hint of a smug smile appeared on Xia Guang's face. At the same time, a series of sharp auras appeared behind Chu Hen once more. Yi Kong had already appeared amid space at an unknown time. What a pity! Outer Young Master. Yi Kong smiled disdainfully as an illusory blade that resembled shadow wings condensed in his palm. Big Brother Chu Hen, be careful, Yi Yao hurriedly warned. As the sharp light assaulted, Chu Hen was just about to turn back. However, his pupils abruptly shook the next instant. Move, I can't move. Chu Hen's eyes widened as he was greatly shocked. What was going on? Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, and the rest were shocked and confused as they looked at the motionless Chu Hen. It's still that woman's illusion technique. Bai Qinyu replied. What? Wah! An invisible sharp aura spread between heaven and earth. In the illusory space where Chu Hen was located, in the sky above the vast sea, more than a dozen sharp wooden stakes had silently pierced into his body. At the same time, the young woman called Qingwen revealed an arrogant and complacent smile. Illusion, Space Nail Technique. Calm. Wonderful Bookstore Calm. Chapter 1547. Wang. A formless sharp aura spread between the heavens and the earth. Looking at the motionless Chu Hen hovering in the air, Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, and the others all had anxious looks on their faces. On the surface, there was nothing unusual about Chu Hen's body at all. In reality, however, within the illusory space in which Chu Hen resided, his entire body had already been pierced by over a dozen sharp wooden stakes. At the same time, the piercingly sharp Yi Kong had already reached Chu Hen's back. Rapid purple chi swirls converged in his palm, condensing into a peerlessly sharp, illusory blade. My apologies, young master. The corners of Yi Kang's mouth curled up in a slight, arrogant smile. Chu Hen's pupils grew cold as the true essence within his body surged rapidly, wanting to break free. At the same time, a complacent smile appeared in the eyes of Qingwen, who was at another location. Don't even think of breaking free from my illusory arts, great air spike art. Accompanied by Qingwen's cold shout, the sharp wooden stakes embedded in Chu Hen's body suddenly erupted with an extremely powerful penetrating force. Chu Hen's eyes widened. Hiss! In that instant, a formless sharp tearing sound seemed to ring out between the heavens and the earth, as over a dozen wooden stakes with mysterious talismans on them directly pierced through the illusory realm of Chu Hen's body. At the same time, Yi Kang's long-prepared attack stealthily arrived behind him. The howl caused by the intense pain shook the eardrums of everyone present. Yi Yao, Long Qingyang, Kun Lushan, and the others all turned pale with fright. The next moment, Xia Guang and Qingwen were greatly alarmed as well. The one who had let out a mournful howl was not Chu Hen, but Yi Kong, who was about to launch an attack behind Chu Hen. Yi Kong, who had still been ferocious just a moment ago, now had an exceptionally chaotic aura, as his entire body was stuck in a strange posture of charging forward. It was as if he had been nailed in place by a formless force. Whoosh! The entire sky above Koan City began to shake rhythmically. Through the overlapping illusory space, in the illusory world, the incomparably sharp wooden stakes had forcibly pierced through Yi Kang's chest, and his limbs were firmly nailed to the sky. How could this be? Qingwen was shocked and suspicious. She had clearly cast the illusion on Chu Hen. How could the person who was nailed be his companion? Yi Kong. Before Qingwen could react, the sky suddenly sank, and the whole world fell into darkness. Wow! A series of ear-piercing screeches rang out. Suddenly, Qingwen felt as if she had been dragged into a dark abyss that would never see the light of day. Blood-colored crows filled the sky and flew in all directions. A blood moon rose in the sky. Screech, accompanied by a sharp whistle, the blood moon was rapidly drawn closer. A figure emitting a mysterious aura suddenly appeared in front of Qingwen. A mere 6-star demon pupil dares to cast an illusion on my 7-star demon pupil. Humph! How ridiculous, Zhang! The moment he finished speaking, the mysterious figure suddenly opened his eyes. In the depths of his demonic pupils, 7 black dots were chasing each other in a clockwise direction. Qingwen's petite body involuntarily trembled in that instant. A formless force surged towards the other party. The scene that surfaced in Qingwen's mind was quickly dragged back to that moment when she had fought with Chu Hen. I have an even better suggestion. Chu Hen laughed, his eyelids raising slightly as the corners of his mouth curled somewhat playfully. "Oh," Xiaoguang was taken aback. "Young master, why? Please speak your mind." "How about?" Chu Hen's voice paused, accompanied by a sudden cold wind. His jet-black pupils shockingly turned into a pair of bewitching purple pupils. "The three of you can come at me together." Screech. The piercing sound of the air caused the surrounding space to distort uneasily. A formless, powerful sharpness seemed to originate from the gaze of an ancient demon god as it directly invaded the minds of the three. Qing abruptly reacted. This was the moment. Chu Hen had long since cast an illusory technique on her. She had been careless. Qing was both shocked and shocked. Never would she have thought that Chu Hen would actually unknowingly cast an illusory technique on her. However strong her attainments in illusory techniques were, a 6-star illusory technique could not suppress a 7-star demonic pupil at all. "Oomph." A frivolous arc appeared at the corners of Chu Hen's mouth. He did not give the other party any chance to steady her mind. "Woo! Wah!" Those blood-colored crows that filled the sky erupted with an extremely shocking speed as they shot towards Qing. As they moved, those blood-colored crows rapidly transformed into numerous 2 to 3 meter wide, spiraling cross-shaped darts. Vigorous chi patterns dragged along in the dim space. Qingwen's similarly bewitching purple pupils were filled with panic at this moment. Boom! Pong! The sky changed color as a shockwave swept across the sky. Along with a muffled explosion, a panic-stricken and miserable figure flew out from the sky above the plaza, heavily smashing onto the ground, exploding into pieces of rock that filled the sky. It was that Yi Kong. The eyes of Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, and the others lit up. Qing, who was on the other side, also let out an incomparably terrified cry. Bang! Then she knelt on the ground and fell to the ground with a muffled sound. What? Long Qingyang, Long Xuan, and the rest of Mount Kunliu were all dumbfounded. Chu Hen had been in a dangerous situation just moments ago, but in the blink of an eye, 2 of his opponents had fallen. This sudden change was too unexpected. Yi Kong and Qing were both baffled by their defeat, especially the latter. There was not the slightest injury on his body, but his aura was extremely weak, as if he had suffered a great injury. Was it third brother's illusory art? Long Qingyang could more or less see some clues, but asked by Qinyu uncertainly. Qinyu nodded slightly, a faint smile playing at the corners of her lips. He made that woman think that she had fallen for her illusory art, and at the last moment, he had her use it on her companions. So that's how it was. No wonder that Yi Kong couldn't move at all. Yi Yao came to a realization, admiration in her eyes at the same time. As expected of big brother Chu Hen, the illusory art was broken as Qing collapsed. The illusory space where Chu Hen was also collapsed. The scene before them returned to the gate tower square. As expected of a 7-star demonic eye, young Master Outer's eye power is truly admirable. A sharp intent flowed in Xiaoguang's eyes. It is a pity that I haven't fallen yet. Wang. In that instant, Xiaoguang rose with the wind, shocking purple flames enveloping the heavens, accompanied by an incomparably sharp aura, a pressure that resembled a tempest and a torrential downpour crushed down on Chu Hen. Young Master Outer, pardon me. Xiaoguang brought his palms together, the purple radiance that pervaded the heavens and the earth suddenly becoming sharp and incisive. Endless brilliant purple light intersected and revolved as a massive purple spear shadow condensed in front of Xiaoguang. For example, an artifact of fiend gods, displaying its tremendous power. Vigorous air currents stacked up in the skies above Earth City, sweeping up a terrifying pressure. That purple spear shadow pierced through the heavens and struck down towards Chu Hen. Great destruction, extreme reverse divine spear. It was an attack that was condensed from the power of Demon Eye's bloodline. The enormous power pressed down, causing the ground to cave in rapidly. The rubble on the ground of the square cracked open inch by inch. Everyone on Mount Kunliu frowned deeply, looks of shock appearing on their faces. Is this the power of a great Saint King expert? Shanjin clenched his fists tightly, deep fear appearing in his eyes. The faces of the three hall masters were pale as well. Once upon a time, they had been the top experts of the Eastern Victory region. Yet, faced with this power, they felt as insignificant as an ant. Amidst their shock, they could not help but worry for Chu Hen, wondering how he would be able to block such a domineering attack from Xiaoguang. Must he use the Nirvanic Devil Spirit? The corners of Li Wuxiang's eyes narrowed slightly as he murmured softly, "Quang." The next instant, that terrifying spear that exuded a destructive aura descended. Chu Hen's tiny figure was like a meteor as it was directly engulfed by countless blinding purple radiances. The massive city square was instantly penetrated deep underground, a massive hole rapidly appearing at the center of the square. Vast, vigorous purple waves surged into the heavens as all the gravel of various sizes were crushed into dust by the shock waves. Chapter 1548. Nirvanic Destruction. Extreme Heavenly Divine Spear. Bang bang. The earth cracked and the whole city trembled. In an instant, the entire Kuan city and even the sect on Mount Kunliu shook violently, as if there was an earthquake. Even though Li Wuxiang had set up a temporary barrier to block the shock waves, it was impossible for them to escape. However, the walls of the city tower were instantly covered with deep cracks of various sizes. The strength of a great Saint King Realm Master is really terrifying. On a mountain peak to the south of Mount Kunliu, Myriad World Sect's Sect Master Qiao Yong, Jiuhua Palace's Palace Master Xing Yi, and Mount Kunlu's Sect Master Gong Yangyu had appeared at some point in time. He was the person with the highest authority among the three great forces in the Victory East region. At this moment, they only dared to hide in the dark and shiver. They had no intention of running to the front to watch the battle. Rumble. In just the blink of an eye, the huge city gate tower was already riddled with holes. As they stared at the huge pit in the middle of the square, the eyes of countless people present were filled with intense shock. The rubble that filled the sky was lifted into the sky, and then it was crushed into powder by the mighty aftershock that overturned the entire arena. Li Wuxiang frowned slightly, and a hint of confusion flashed through his eyes. He didn't even use the power of the seven-star demon eyes. This was out of Wuxiang's expectations. Even though Xiaoguang only possessed six-star demon pupils, his cultivation base had already reached the heaven-ranked Great Saint King realm. Only the Nirvana demon spirit could withstand that attack just now. Where's Brother Chu Hen? Compared to Li Wuxiang's astonishment, the others outside were also confused. Looking at the huge pit in the square and the chaotic cyclone, he couldn't sense the slightest bit of Chu Hen's aura. Long Qingyang, Long Xuan, and Yi Yao looked at each other. He couldn't help but feel a little restless. Gone? Even Xiaoguang, who stood proudly in the air, had a look of astonishment on his face. Could it be that he had been blasted into smithereens by his spear? Impossible. Xiaoguang frowned slightly, shock and doubt slowly appearing in his eyes. Crack! Suddenly, at this moment, a streak of gorgeous purple thunder interwove behind Xiaoguang. Xiaoguang's expression suddenly changed drastically. Before he could react, a palm that flickered with a frenzied purple light had already pressed against the back of his heart. Looks like you've lost, Hua. An invisible and powerful aura swept across the sky. Everyone present was greatly alarmed. When did Chu Hen go there? It was completely silent. A second ago, he had still been beneath Xiaoguang. Now, he was directly behind him. Isn't this a little too elusive? What is this technique? At this moment, even Li Wuxiang was struggling to maintain his composure. He subconsciously looked towards Bai Qinyu, who was standing with Long Qingyang and the others, and there was an indescribable look on his face. At this moment, Bai Qinyu's beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment. It could be seen that she was a little confused. Others might not have been able to clearly see how Chu Hen had appeared behind Xiaoguang, but she had. She could not be more familiar with the technique that Chu Hen had just executed. But why had it been like this? Bai Qinyu herself did not know either. Chi, Wild electric arcs that were like snakes of thunder flowed and swayed in Chu Hen's palms and arms. Xia Guang's face was slightly pale as a few drops of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. He did not doubt in the slightest that if he dared to make any random movements, the sharp power of thunderbolts in Chu Hen's palm would instantly pierce through his chest. I wonder if I have the right to return to the clan now? Chu Hen's cold, icy voice rang out in Xia Guang's ears. The latter's face was pale as he replied, rather nervously, "Young Master's eye power is powerful. We are willing to admit defeat." Huh! The corners of Chu Hen's mouth curled into a frivolous, cold smile. It looks like the so-called Heavenly Wolf Star Guard is only so. Then, the cold light in Chu Hen's eyes retreated as he withdrew his palm from the other party's back. Xia Guang heaved a slight sigh of relief as he no longer had that arrogance on his face. The three of them had not been able to defeat a single person. There was no lower limit to how much face they could lose. Spectacular. A mortal Great Saint King fighting two Earth Great Saint Kings and a Heaven Great Saint King on his own, and he actually won without much difficulty. If I had not seen it with my own eyes, I would not have believed it to be true. On the southern peak of Mount Kunliu, Chief Qiao Yong of the Myriad World sect sighed in admiration. Chief Xing Yi of the Nine Magnificence Palace had a deep look in his eyes as he said to Gong Yangyu rather discontentedly, "Humph, you knew long ago that he was of the Demon Eye clan?" Gong Yangyu smiled, but did not speak. As he saw it, forcing the position of Chief of Mount Kunliu to Chu Hen had truly been the wisest decision he had ever made. With just Chu Hen alone, Mount Kunliu would forever suppress the Myriad World sect and the Nine Magnificence Palace as the leader of the three major forces in the Victory State. "Chief Gong Yangyu, can you not laugh so obviously?" Xiao Yong said. "Ha ha ha." Gong Yangyu could not hold it in any longer. "Shouldn't the two of you be thanking me? Fortunately, I stopped the two of you from interfering in the battle of the Lightning Saint Palace. Otherwise, the two of you would not have dared to stand here." "Oof." Xing Yi snorted coldly and ignored him. "Let's go. I originally wanted to greet that brat since I just broke through to the Saint King stage, but it seems like there's no need for that now. You're already here? Are you really not going?" Gong Yanyu asked. "I'm not going." Xiao Yong waved his hand. "I'm embarrassed to be left so far behind by a junior. I feel embarrassed too. Unlike a certain sect leader whose cultivation is worlds apart from his disciples, he still has the face to be a sect leader." Xing Yi pointed at the mulberry tree and scolded the locust tree. Gong Yanyu was speechless. "Can you blame me for this? I say the two of you." Xiao Yong and Xing Yi ignored him. The two of them turned into a beam of light and shot into the sky, disappearing from the sky above Mount Kunliu. Gong Yanyu felt helpless. "Forget it. I'll go back and continue my closed-door cultivation." As soon as he finished speaking, his figure flashed and vanished from the peak of the mountain range. On top of the battered city gate tower, the chaotic airflow gradually calmed down. Seeing Chu Hen land on the ground, everyone hurried to greet him. "Big brother Chu Hen, you're amazing. Even 3 pairs of demonic eyes were no match for you." Yi Yao's eyes lit up. "Third brother, you really made us sweat. Speaking of which, how did you do that last move?" Long Qingyang exclaimed. Chu Hen smiled and turned to look at Bai Qinyu. Bai Qinyu was both surprised and happy. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine." Chu Hen shook his head. At the same time, Xia Guang helped Yi Kong and Qing went up. The three of them had awkward expressions on their faces. Xia Guang was all right. Chu Hen had not dealt a heavy blow at the last moment. As for Yi Kong and Qing Wen, their expressions were a little dazed. Both of them had been attacked by an illusory art and were not particularly clear-headed for the time being. "Lord Li Wushang, Lord Outer Young Master, we hope that you can forgive us for our previous offense." Xia Guang lowered his head, an ashamed expression on his face. Yi Kong and Qing Wen had extremely ugly expressions on their faces as well. It would be fine if Xia Guang had been the only one who had been defeated. However, the three of them had still been defeated in such a humiliating manner. They did not even dare to raise their voices. Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, and the others were inwardly delighted to see their completely different attitudes. When they came, A certain someone's face was almost up to the skies. This difference is really. Yia rolled her eyes. The three of them were even more embarrassed, wishing that they could find a hole in the ground to hide in. Walking over, Li Wuxiang also had a faint smile on his face. When will you return? Hearing these words, Chu Hen's eyes flickered with anticipation. Xia Guang raised his head slightly, saying to the two of them, "Anytime." Good night, everyone. Chapter 1549. Scree. A resonant eagle's cry resounded through the skies as a majestic eagle with a wingspan of over 300 meters shot through the clouds like a streak of light. As the eagle whistled past, a string of dazzling silver lightning could be vaguely seen interweaving in the air. Tearing through the air, one could see how fast it was. At this moment, there were 7 people on the back of this flowing light eagle. 3 of them were Xia Guang, Yi Kong, and Qing Wen, who had come from the Demon Eye clan. The other 4 were Li Wuxiang, Chu Hen, Bai Qinyu, and Long Qingyang. Their destination was the Demon Eye clan. This had originally been Chu Hen's matter alone, but under his request, Bai Qinyu and Long Qingyang had come along as well. A piercingly cold gust of air assaulted them. Under the lightning-fast speed of the flowing light eagle, the mountains, peaks, streams, and rivers below were all quickly left behind. The atmosphere on the eagle's back was rather quiet. They were all silent, as if they had their own worries. Of course, Xia Guang and the other 2 would not take the initiative to talk to Chu Hen. They had all been incredibly arrogant when they had gone to Kuan City, but their faces had all been slapped swollen when they returned. This was especially so for Qing Wen and Yi Kong, who were still fuming with anger even now. If I hadn't fallen for his illusions at the start, he would definitely have been the one to lose. Qing Wen muttered softly, her eyes filled with resentment and regret. I was careless. Who could have thought that he would be so despicable as to make the first move? Yi Kong expressed his dissatisfaction as well. At this moment, the illusions on the 2 had been completely dispelled. Their consciousness had also returned to normal. After all, it was Chu Hen who had made the first move. The 2 were naturally unconvinced. All right, it's already very embarrassing. He's only a mortal great Saint King. Even if we won, we would feel disgraced, much less losing. Xia Guang swept a glance at the 2, indicating that there was no need to mention this matter anymore. Chu Hen did not hear the discussion of the 3 people not far away. To be precise, he did not care. His deep eyes stared at the mountains in front of him that pierced through the clouds. It was as if his soul had left his body. It was very quiet. What are you thinking about? Bai Qinyu patted his arm lightly. Chu Hen came back to his senses and looked to the side. A beautiful face that could topple cities came into view. It's nothing. Chu Hen smiled. Are you still afraid? Bai Qinyu asked softly. Chu Hen didn't deny it and immediately said, but it's much better than before. No matter what the outcome is, I'm prepared to face it. That's good. Bai Qinyu gently hooked her arm around Chu Hen's broad palm. Her slender and fair little hand was like a beautiful jade with a faint warmth. I'll be by your side. Chu Hen's heartstrings were slightly stirred. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. He smiled and didn't say anything else. The past few days had been rather torturous for Chu Hen, but as he got closer to the Demon Eye Sacred Clan, his heart gradually calmed down. No matter what the outcome was, Chu Hen was mentally prepared. Even if it was the worst-case scenario, he would do his best to face it calmly. The journey was rather long. Long Qingyang's eyes were tightly shut as he sat cross-legged in meditation. On the other side, Li Wuxiang was looking meaningfully at Chu Hen and Bai Qinyu, who were snuggling together. Between his brows, there was a hint of indescribable complexity. The stars moved, the sun and moon alternated. Dawn rose. Screech. All of a sudden, the flowing light falcon burst out with an extremely astonishing speed. It was like a light shuttle chasing after the sun, the moon, and the heavens, rushing toward a vast mountain stream in front of it. Chu Hen's heart skipped a beat. Long Qingyang also woke up with a start. We're about to enter the illusion realm. Xia Guang, who was standing on the eagle's head, reminded. Illusion realm? Chu Hen was taken aback. Swish! The moment it spoke, the flowing light eagle's entire body erupted with a dazzling radiance, leaving behind countless powerful air waves in the air. Under Chu Hen and Long Qingyang's astonished gazes, the flowing light eagle suddenly flew into a waterfall in the mountain stream. The two were shocked. Long Qingyang subconsciously wanted to shout, "Stop!" But then, with a hum, space trembled as the eagle, which was supposed to crash into the steep cliff behind the waterfall, passed through a dreamy and distorted light screen. It was like ripples on the surface of a lake. Swish! The flowing light eagle disappeared into the vast mountain stream, with everyone in tow. Whoosh! At the same time, a dazzling white light flashed in front of them. Following that, the world in front of Chu Hen astonishingly underwent a huge change. The mountain stream valley in front of them had transformed into a paradise with verdant hills and limpid waters. It was as if they were in a fairyland. The crisscrossed plains intersected between the mountains and rivers. The rivers were winding and rugged, like giant dragons crawling on the ground. The spiritual qi gathered in the air was much denser than the outside world. This is the illusion realm, where the demonized sacred clan is temporarily staying. Seeing Chu Hen's somewhat perplexed expression, Qing Wen casually explained a bit. Her words more or less carried a hint of provocation. She even glanced at Li Wuxiang. It seemed that Chu Hen didn't know anything about the demonized sacred clan. The 10 strongest sacred clans all have their own independent realms, Bai Qianyu explained to Chu Hen. Oh, Chu Hen was slightly surprised. Don't they live in the East region, Midland, or somewhere else? Bai Qianyu shook her head. They do have strongholds, but the places where they live are all independent realms. Just like the demonic realm that connects to the chaos demon realm and the god-forbidden blood prison where the ferocious demons gather, they all belong to independent realms. Chu Hen nodded. He remembered that Bai Qinyu had mentioned in the Light Saint clan that she lived in the Cloud Realm's white sovereign city. At the time, he had thought that it was somewhere in Midland, but now that he thought about it, it didn't seem to be the case. How are these independent realms formed? Long Qingyang asked curiously. Chu Hen was also interested. Bai Qinyu's red lips parted as she replied. Most domain spaces are formed by themselves, and the distance between domains is relatively close. As long as a space channel is opened between them, then 2 domains can be connected together. Of course, there's an extremely small number of domains that were opened up by the ancestors of the various saint races with their supreme strength. Create independent realms? Long Qingyang exclaimed. What kind of almighty being would that be? Bai Qinyu smiled. Creating an independent realm is not something that can be done in a day. In fact, it takes tens of thousands of years, or even longer, to create a city. It's like a chaotic world in the vast universe that's constantly changing, slowly being nurtured from nothingness. Long Qingyang was completely confused and did not understand at all. Chu Hen, on the other hand, seemed to understand a little. Subconsciously, he asked, does that mean the East domain that we are in, the Midland, could also be a special space created by a powerful being who created the world? That's right. I always thought so when I was young. Bai Qinyu smiled sweetly, her bright eyes shining. Wow! Chu Hen nodded in amazement. If that's the case, then the one who created this world must be a godlike being. Bai Qinyu was amused by Chu Hen's expression. When I was young, every time I had this thought, my dad would say that I was a little fool. Bai Qinyu gently poked Chu Hen's head with her finger, covering her mouth as she giggled. So I'm not the only fool, ha ha. Chu Hen didn't know whether to laugh or to be angry. His words were just a joke to cater to the other party. There were too many unknown realms in this world. Realms like Midland and the East region, which were endless, had probably existed for billions of years before they could be born from the chaos. It was an infinitely mysterious world. The realms intersected. Caw! The flowing light eagle let out a long cry. Chu Hen, Bai Qinyu, and the others turned around subconsciously. In the distance of the vast plains was a lofty and magnificent palace that stood towering beneath the sky, and it revealed a desolate and ancient aura. And on top of that city tower, Purple Imperial City, the 3 majestic and imposing words entered everyone's eyes. They're here. Wang Realm, Purple Imperial City, the demon I clan's territory. Chu Hen stood up, and the expression on his face quietly became deep and serious. This day, it's finally here. Chapter 1550. Scree. The flowing light eagle that pierced through the clouds like a sharp arrow gradually slowed down. Then it dove downwards, landing at the center of the plaza like a spirit goose returning to its nest. Xiaoguang and the other two leapt off the eagle's back first. Chu Hen, Bai Qinyu, and Long Qingyang followed them into the plaza. Hurried and steady footsteps could be heard as over a dozen valiant figures clad in sacred armor hurried over. Lord Xiaoguang, you've returned. Their leader was a tall, middle-aged man. Even though he was much older than Xiaoguang, his tone was still rather respectful. It could be seen that Xiaoguang and the other two had rather high statuses within the clan. Xiaoguang nodded, immediately replying, "Go inform fourth elder. The outer young master has returned." What? Everyone's eyes lit up as their gazes swept towards Chu Hen and Long Qingyang behind them. They seemed to be wondering which one was the outer young master. On the other hand, the middle-aged guard in the lead walked towards Chu Hen. Within his sharp gaze, there was a bit of emotion. This must be the outer young master. Chu Hen raised his brows slightly, rather surprised. Before Chu Hen could ask, the other party continued. He looks very much like Lord Ji Xia. It would be great if she was still here. The first and second half of his words caused a huge contrast in Chu Hen's emotions. His expression involuntarily changed as he clenched his fists together. If she were still around? In that instant, Chu Hen felt as if his heart was being gripped by an invisible hand as he felt suffocated. You mean my mother is no longer around? Chu Hen's voice trembled slightly. He stared fixedly at the middle-aged guard's eyes. The latter was taken aback. He was clearly taken aback by Chu Hen's reaction. Not far away, Xiaoguang, Yi Kong, and Qingwen exchanged glances as well before subconsciously turning towards Li Wuxiang. It had been so many years. Had Li Wuxiang not told Chu Hen anything about his origins and what had happened to the demon pupil race back then? Me? The middle-aged guard was at a loss. That's true. If she was still here, she wouldn't have avoided me for so many years. Chu Hen's eyes were a little lonely, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Bai Qinyu hurriedly held onto Chu Hen's arm and gently covered his fist, soothing Chu Hen's restless heart. Don't be like this. Don't be anxious. Long Qingyang also came forward to pat Chu Hen on the shoulder. Yes, Miss Bai is right. Don't worry. Wait until we meet the higher-ups of the demonic Ice Sacred clan and hear what they have to say. Chu Hen took a deep breath and slowly loosened his clenched fists. He looked back at Bai Qinyu, her bright and beautiful peach blossom eyes containing a faint smile and encouragement. Chu Hen squeezed out a smile. I'm fine. Violet Imperial City is still the same as before, just that there are a lot less people here. A voice full of bitterness came from another direction. Li Wuxiang had walked to the edge of the city tower, looking down at the place he used to be most familiar with. The usually calm and easygoing Li Wuxiang felt an indescribable sense of desolation. Lord Li Wuxiang, you're back too. The middle-aged guard shuddered and hurriedly walked toward Li Wuxiang. The expressions of the other guards behind him also changed. Sky Lone Star Guard? Lord Li Wuxiang? It's him. There's no mistaking it. Although he's a little different from before, he's still Lord Li Wuxiang. All the guards were surprised and delighted, and they even felt excited. Speaking of Li Wuxiang, everyone in the demonic Ice Sacred clan knew him. He was one of the 4 star guards under the demonic Ice Sacred Emperor, and the Emperor's most trusted right-hand man. After the demonic Ice Sacred clan's disaster, Li Wuxiang had never returned to Violet Imperial City. There were even rumors that he was dead. Now that he'd returned safe and sound, everyone was overjoyed. Li Wuxiang turned around and nodded at the middle-aged guard. He did not say anything, merely looking at Xiaoguang and the others. Let's go. Let's go. It was a simple word, but it contained an indescribable bitterness and profoundness. Things remained the same, but people had changed. Even after so many years, no matter how calm Li Wuxiang's heart was, he still could not hide the sorrow in the depths of his heart. A while later, within a hall called the Purple-Eyed Great Hall, 4 cups of tea were served. However, no one was in the mood to enjoy the fragrant tea. Everyone seemed to have something on their minds, and the silent atmosphere caused the entire Great Hall to be especially quiet. Compared to Chu Hen's reticence, Bai Qianyu's eyes also contained a faint trace of unease. "Thank you, Miss Bai," Long Qingyang suddenly said softly. Bai Qianyu was taken aback. She immediately realized that he was referring to Chu Hen. "It's fine." Bai Qianyu smiled politely, glancing back at Chu Hen with an indescribably complex expression on her face. Now another set of footsteps resounded. "Fourth elder and the others have arrived," Xia Guang subconsciously said. They immediately stood up, their gazes sweeping outside the great hall. Then, a few figures with extraordinary bearings appeared at the entrance of the hall. Li Wuxiang's eyelids twitched slightly when he saw their leader, a look of surprise appearing on his face. Xia Guang, Yi Kong, and Qingwen could not help but be taken aback. They then hurriedly bowed in greeting. Lord Heavenly Wolf Starguard. Whoosh! A formless, powerful aura emanated. The newcomer was not the 4th elder that Xia Guang had spoken of, but another Starguard of the Demon Eye Emperor, the Heavenly Wolf Starguard. "Rao Feiwan," Li Wuxiang said mildly. "Li Wuxiang, how have you been, Heavenly Wolf Starguard Rao Feiwan?" While she appeared to be around the same age as Li Wuxiang, the aura she emanated was completely different. Li Wuxiang was cultured and refined, amiable and easygoing. Rao Feiwan, on the other hand, was domineering, his eyes as sharp as an eagle's, just like his nickname, Heavenly Wolf. "I didn't want to see you so soon," Li Wuxiang said bluntly. While they were both left and right arms of the Demon Eye Emperor, Li Wuxiang and Rao Feiwan did not seem to have a particularly harmonious relationship. "Huh," Rao Feiwan laughed coldly. "I didn't come here just to see you." With that, Rao Feiwan shifted his gaze back, his attention first landing on Long Qingyang. However, he immediately felt that something was wrong. "There's no demon eyes aura." Clearly, Long Qingyang was not the person he was looking for. Then, Rao Feiwan turned to look at Chu Hen, only to be even more surprised. Mortal Great Saint King Realm? He could see through Chu Hen's cultivation with a single glance. Then, Rao Feiwan turned to look at Xia Guang, Yi Kong, and Qingwen again. They naturally understood what Rao Feiwan was thinking. Young Master Wise-Eye power is extraordinary, and the 3 of us couldn't defeat him even after joining forces. Oh? Rao Feiwan couldn't help but narrow his eyes. He knew that Xia Guang wouldn't dare lie to him, and his gaze towards Chu Hen became a little more profound. "If the 3 of you can't defeat a mortal great Saint King, what use are the 3 of you?" Suddenly, a mocking voice sounded from outside the door once more. A few more figures entered the great hall. "4th elder." Li Wuxiang's expression changed slightly. Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, and Long Qingyang also followed Li Wuxiang forward. The first to step into the hall was an old man with a slightly bent body and skinny skin. The old man wore plain gray clothes and held a scepter in his hand. His turbid eyes seemed to have seen through the countless storms of the world. However, it wasn't the 4th elder who had spoken just now. Instead, it was another young figure who had come in with him. This person looked to be about 2 or 3 years older than Chu Hen, and his appearance and demeanor were extraordinary. A heaven rank and 2 earth rank great Saint Kings couldn't defeat a mortal great Saint King. "You're a disgrace to the Heavenly Wolf Starguard," the young man said indifferently. Xia Guang and the other 2 lowered their heads with an ugly expression on their faces. "This is?" Li Wuxiang asked. "Junior Li Kuan greets Lord Lone Starguard." The young man cupped his fist slightly and bowed towards Li Wuxiang. The corner of his mouth curled up with a hint of arrogance. "Oh!" Li Wuxiang's eyes narrowed slightly as he saw through the young man's strength. The limit of the 7-star demon eyes bloodline. A peak heaven rank great Saint King cultivation base. He seemed to be stepping into the quasi-emperor realm. The most important point was the young man's surname was Li. Looking at Li Wuxiang's slightly surprised expression, Rao Feiwan of the Heavenly Wolf Starguard revealed a smug smile. Li Kuan's father and Emperor Demon I are cousins. They are of the same bloodline, and according to our evaluation, his Demon I clan bloodline is second only to Emperor Demon I. The bloodline of the bloodline. Second only to Emperor Demon I. Rao Failwan said these two words with great force. Li Wuxiang smiled. He didn't seem surprised at all. From the moment Xia Guang and the other two had made things difficult for Chu Hen, he had already guessed some things. Emperor Demon I's cousin. Although they weren't close relatives, they could indeed be called of the same bloodline. Although Li Wuxiang also had the surname Li, he was different from Li Kuan. Li Wuxiang belonged to the outer branch of the clan and was separated by several generations. He was only slightly related to Emperor Demon I. Haha, Li Wuxiang laughed, not minding this at all. He pointed at Chu Hen and said, "This is the son of Lord Li Jixia, the nephew of Emperor Demon I." When he heard this, Chu Hen couldn't help but feel shocked. Long Qingyang also looked at him in astonishment. Emperor Demon I's nephew? Doesn't that mean that Emperor Demon I is my uncle? Chu Hen found this a little hard to believe. Bai Qinyu was also rather surprised. Although she had long since guessed that Chu Hen had the bloodline of the Demon I clan, she hadn't thought that he would be a blood relative of Emperor Demon I. Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Failwan smiled coldly. But his surname isn't Li. You? Li Wuxiang's face immediately darkened, a trace of coldness surging in his eyes. Enough. At this time, the fourth elder's scepter slammed heavily on the ground, creating an extremely dignified sound. Look at you. You've just returned to the clan, and you're already fighting for power. Do you think you can revive the clan with your conduct? Li Wuxiang's gaze softened slightly. Rao Failwan chuckled and didn't say anything else. Li Kuan raised an eyebrow and looked with interest at Chu Hen, who was at the back of the hall, a hint of playfulness in his eyes. The fourth elder hobbled toward Chu Hen with his walking stick. His cloudy old eyes shone with a bit of light. You must have suffered a lot in the outside world all these years, right? The fourth elder's gentle tone was that of a respected elder. Chu Hen could see a welcoming expression on his wrinkled face. Chu Hen smiled. Not at all. The Lone Star Guard protected me very well. Very well, made Li Wuxiang's heart tremble. Long Qingyang, who had grown up with Chu Hen, couldn't help but feel a lump in his throat. All these years, Chu Hen didn't seem to have it easy. Since the day he saw Li Wuxiang again, Chu Hen had been rushing around that cruel and heartless world. He couldn't remember how many times he'd survived. He couldn't remember how many times he'd escaped from the gates of hell. And he couldn't remember how many times he'd fought in fierce battles. However, Chu Hen only said one thing. "I'm fine." Li Wuxiang couldn't help but lower his head. Looking at Chu Hen's handsome side profile and the slightly raised corners of his mouth, Bai Qinyu's heart faintly felt a bit of heartache. She only knew a part of the bitterness in this young man's heart, but that part was something that countless people had never experienced. If a person's heart was filled with pain and difficulties, then how much sweetness would it take to make up for it? The answer was a little bit of sweetness. A little bit of sweetness was enough. That was why Chu Hen had held Bai Qinyu like a child that night. He didn't need too much sweetness, just the simplest support was enough. At this moment, Bai Qinyu only hoped that what she heard next wouldn't disappoint Chu Hen. That would be enough. Good boy. When I see you, it's like seeing Jixia. You two really look alike. Fourth elder patted Chu Hen's shoulder lightly, then turned to Li Wuxiang. How much have you told me? Li Wuxiang shook his head. The fourth elder understood and nodded his head. He then asked Chu Hen again, "Are you prepared?" "Yes." Chu Hen agreed. "Where do you want to start?" "My parents." Chu Hen answered resolutely. Fourth elder nodded slightly, his shriveled lips moving slightly as he spoke in an old yet gentle voice. "Your mother, Li Jixia, is our clan's ninth elder. She has a high position and is also Emperor Demon I's most beloved sister. And your father." Chu Hen's pupils contracted, his heartbeat speeding up. "Chu Qintian." Fourth elder paused, a strange light surging out of his murky eyes. "From the chaotic race. P.S. That's all for tonight. Good night, everyone." Chapter 1551. And your father, Chu Ran Tian, came from the Chaos Clan. The fourth elder's murky eyes glinted with a strange light. The Chaos Clan? When he heard those 4 words, Chu Hen's pupils shrunk tightly, and his heartbeat sped up. Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes narrowed in surprise. Chu Hen clenched his fists unconsciously. Waves of uneasiness surged in his heart. He suppressed the uneasiness in his heart and stared at the fourth elder's wrinkled face expectantly. Speaking of the Chaos Clan, you should be very unfamiliar with it. The fourth elder paused, his eyes filled with fear. He continued, 10,000 years ago, this clan was called the Chaos God Clan. There was once in existence who possessed the bloodline of a divine body. In times of chaos, he ruled the heavens, slaughtered demons, and suppressed the 10 strongest sacred clans, the Chaos God Clan. The divine body bloodline limit. Chu Hen felt his scalp tingle when he heard those words. The Chaos God Clan had suppressed the 10 strongest sacred clans by himself. What kind of terrifying existence was that? Who was that person? Chu Hen asked in a low voice. The ruler of the Chaos God Clan. People call him the Heavenly Emperor. The fourth elder's voice trembled a little. The Heavenly Emperor. Everyone in the Great Hall could not help but be moved when they heard those 2 words. The image of an emperor who stood proudly above the vast heavens and shook the world appeared in everyone's mind. Everyone bowed and murmured in low voices. The 10 strongest sacred clans bowed their heads in submission. The Heavenly Emperor. The mere mention of this name reminded everyone of the fear the sacred clans had felt when they were dominated by him during the chaotic era. The 10 sacred clans know best how powerful the Heavenly Emperor who ruled the Chaos God Clan was. It's said that the patriarch of the Dragon Blood Saint clan didn't like the Heavenly Emperor's control and summoned his heart beast to fight against the Heavenly Emperor. In the end, the Heavenly Emperor killed the Dragon Blood Saint clan's heart beast with his mighty power. Since then, the 10 strongest sacred clans have all submitted to the Celestial Emperor. Although the fourth elder's words were light and steady, in the ears of everyone present, they were like a clap of thunder that shook the hearts of everyone in the hall. Killed the heart beast? Hearing this, Chu Hen felt a chill run down his spine. Chu Hen had already sensed the aura of the heart beast twice. Just that aura alone was enough to make one's heart palpitate with fear. However, the Heavenly Emperor was so powerful that he could even kill the heart beast. How shocking was this? How domineering was this? What happened next? Chu Hen asked. He was eager to know what had happened after that. If the Celestial Arch was that terrifying, no one in the primal chaos race would dare to provoke him. The fourth elder let out a deep sigh as a trace of regret appeared in his old eyes. Under the Celestial Emperor's sole control of the world, the chaos between the realms gradually subsided, and the fights between the various sacred clans and sects were also suppressed. Even the monster realm, which had always been incompatible with the human race, restrained itself. The human race lived a rather peaceful and comfortable era. However, with the invasion of the devil race 10,000 years ago, the peaceful era, which had lasted for thousands of years, was quietly broken. If the human race and the demon beasts could still get along with each other, reluctantly, the human race and the devil race would definitely become mortal enemies. The devil race worshipped killing and blood. It was synonymous with cruelty and violence. Moreover, the devil race liked to devour the essence and holy souls of human beings to strengthen themselves. In the eyes of the devil race, human beings were their prey. No one would negotiate peace with their prey. Therefore, the great war between the devil race and the human race, which originated from the godly forbidden blood prison, broke out 10,000 years ago. That was definitely the most chaotic era since the Celestial Emperor came to power. Fierce devil race invaded the human race's territory. A reign of terror swept through all the major regions, and they were reduced to Azura battlefields. In that war, countless powerful human beings and monster emperors fell. Corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like rivers. Even the entire Midland was almost destroyed. The Chaos God race and the 10 most powerful holy clans also launched a war against the devil race army in the godly forbidden blood prison. In the end, the celestial emperor suppressed the evil god, and the human race won. The chaos god race, the godly forbidden blood prison, the celestial emperor, the evil god. Chu Hen's heartstrings couldn't help but tremble, especially when he heard the two words demon god. He subconsciously covered his heart with his hand. His eyes were still filled with fear. In that war, the evil god was directly thrown into the chaos abyss by the celestial emperor and was sealed at the bottom of the abyss forever. Even so, because the celestial emperor used up all his life's divine origin, the news that he disappeared from the world soon spread. Disappeared? Chu Hen was stunned. The celestial emperor died. The fourth elder sighed. Maybe. Ever since the war with the evil god, the world has never seen the celestial emperor again. People say that he disappeared is just a form of respect and blessing. Although the world is unwilling to admit it, there is no celestial emperor in this world. The celestial emperor disappeared. The peaceful and tranquil world was once again thrown into disarray. The relationship between the holy clans, sects, and the monster realm became tense again. What about the chaos god race? Even without the celestial emperor, the bloodline limit of the chaos god body should be enough to suppress the holy clans, right? Chu Hen was confused. Chaos god body. That level of bloodline limit can't even compare to an ordinary holy body. Not far away, Heavenly Wolf Star Guard Rao Felwan laughed disdainfully. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold, and he frowned. The fourth elder raised his hand, indicating that the others should not say anything. The bloodline limit of the chaos god body is very special. The upper limit of this bloodline is very high, but it is also very difficult to cultivate. Ever since the celestial emperor disappeared, the bloodline limit of the chaos god race seemed to have fallen into silence, and it became weaker with each generation. This phenomenon also accelerated the decline of the chaos god race. Chaos god body. It was known as the most shocking bloodline limit in the world. It was so strong that it was even stronger than the 10 strongest sacred bodies. Such a powerful body also had a huge drawback. That was the difficulty of cultivation. After the celestial emperor, no one in the chaos god race could reproduce the peerless glory of the bloodline limit of the chaos god race. Even the most talented of the younger generation could not reach 1,000th of the celestial emperor's bloodline. Once they lost the support of the bloodline, the chaos god race's decline was inevitable. In just 1,000 years, the chaos god race's overall strength was surpassed by the 10 holy clans. After a few thousand years, the chaos god race's bloodline was far behind the 10 strongest holy bodies. 10,000 years later, the chaos god race that once controlled the 10 holy clans was reduced to an ordinary race. People even took away the word god and called them the chaos god race. Gradually, the various sacred clans had long since forgotten the fear of being dominated by that man from that clan. The 10 strongest holy clans reigned supreme once again. Time flies. The chaos god race has long fallen to the point where they can't even compare to ordinary holy clans. The fourth elder's tone was filled with regret. After all, the celestial emperor ruled the world, controlled chaos, suppressed the evil god, and created countless glorious achievements that were recorded in history. Just thinking about it made one sigh. However, the fourth elder's voice paused as his eyes lit up. When the Chaos Clan was almost forgotten by the world, an extraordinary genius suddenly appeared in that clan. Chu Hen's heart skipped a beat. He lifted his eyelids. That genius was as dazzling as his name. He stained the world. He was your father, Chu Rantin. Come. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 1552. Invade the World. Chu Rantion. A name as dazzling as a million stars in the night sky. The innate dominance of a king. Chu Hen couldn't help but clench his fists. It was as if the blood in his body was rapidly speeding up. Everyone else in the hall was visibly moved when they heard Chu Lenchen's name. Even Sirius Star Guard Rao Failwan and Li Kuan couldn't help but look at each other. Due to Chu Rantian's sudden appearance, the forgotten Chaos tribe gradually returned to the world's attention. Chu Jintian didn't disappoint either. He reached the sole emperor realm at the age of 30. What's even more shocking is that Chu Jintian's chaos race bloodline has bestowed him with an exceptionally powerful fate. The fourth elder's voice was filled with praise. It was as if 10,000 years had passed. The Chaos tribe's dormant bloodline seemed to have been awakened once more. Chu Rantian's appearance, while stunning the world, it also made the other sacred tribes feel uneasy. While the world was paying close attention to Chu Rantian and the Chaos tribe, something even more unexpected happened. Chu Rantian and Li Jixia, an elder of the demonic eye tribe, fell in love and got together. One was a stunning genius that the Chaos tribe had pinned their hopes on. The other was Emperor Demonic Eye's younger sister. The union of the two of them had undoubtedly caused a series of surging storms in the various clans. But the divine body was a divine body after all. Even if it had been dormant for tens of thousands of years, once it awakened, it would definitely bring great terror to this world. Chu Rantian alone was enough to make people feel uneasy. Moreover, the marriage alliance between the Demon Eye clan and the Demon Eye clan had directly alerted the world and made them panic. Back then, the Demonic Eye tribe had a strong foundation and a marriage alliance with the Chaos tribe. It was because of this alliance that the younger generation grew fearful. They worried that our two tribes would grow into even more terrifying factions. That's why we were envied and brought disaster upon ourselves. The fourth elder sighed deeply. That's how the human heart is. As long as the opponent was a threat to his existence, he would get rid of them quickly. Just a few days after you turned 1 month old, your parents brought you back to visit your family. Those thieves who had been waiting for an opportunity seized the opportunity to invade the Chaos race and the Demon Eye Saint clan. The fourth elder's eyes were somewhat gloomy, and his tone was mixed with traces of hatred and anger. In that battle, the Demon Eye Sacred clan suffered heavy casualties and suffered unprecedented losses. As for the Primal Chaos race, due to Chu Rantian's absence, it was difficult for them to defend against the invasion of foreign enemies. In fact, it could be said that the Primal Chaos race has almost been wiped out. Clan extermination. These two words were particularly piercing to the ears. Chu Hen's tightly clenched fists unconsciously creaked, his knuckles faintly turning white. Who is it? He stared at the fourth elder and asked, anger burning in his eyes. Behind him, Bai Qinyu raised her beautiful eyes slightly, and there was a hint of solemnity in her beautiful brows. The fourth elder paused slightly. His thin throat moved slightly, and he spat out a few words with incomparable clarity. The mastermind is the divine Eye Saint race, the mastermind, the divine Eye Saint race. Clang. In that instant, Chu Hen's expression changed drastically, and he felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Behind him, Long Qingyang also turned pale with fright. He subconsciously turned to look at Bai Qinyu. The divine Eye Saint race? Shock, panic, disbelief. Bai Qinyu's delicate body trembled like a cicada in winter, and there was not a single trace of blood on her beautiful face. Impossible, impossible, Bai Qinyu muttered to herself in a daze. Are you sure? Chu Hen's voice was inexplicably trembling, as if a heavy, sharp object had struck his heart. His expression was unusually ugly. Not far away, the lone star guard, Weili Wushang, narrowed his eyes and frowned even more deeply. The heavenly wolf star guard, Rao Felwan and Li Kuan, couldn't help but look at each other in bewilderment. They could vaguely sense that Chu Hen's expression was a little strange, and his aura was abnormally chaotic. Meanwhile, the fourth elder, who was facing Chu Hen, didn't notice the change in their expressions. He seemed to be immersed in the past, and his skinny figure and cloudy eyes gave off a faint sense of sorrow and helplessness. He paused for a moment before continuing, the divine Eye Saint race and the demonic Eye Saint race have always been at odds. Both Saint clans focus on eye techniques, and neither side has been willing to submit to the other since ancient times. There's always been a great dispute over which is stronger, the demonic Eye Saint race or the divine Eye Saint race. It's also because of this dispute that the two races have never been able to reconcile. Especially after the heavenly Thearcha's disappearance, The friction continued to intensify. Demonic eye, divine eye, one purple, one gold. It was like a battle between evil and holiness, or a demon god and an emperor. For a long time, humans had an inexplicable repulsion towards the same things. The demonic eye saint race and the divine eye saint race both focused on cultivating eye techniques, especially since they both had the bloodline limit of the 10 strongest saint physiques. It was like fate. They were fated to be rivals. It just so happened that on the day your parents brought you back to the clan, Emperor Bai and the demonic Eye Emperor met at the Sky Palace alone and announced that they would have a battle at the Heavenly King Mountain to put an end to this. But we never expected that this was just a plot by the Divine Eye Saint race. They just wanted to take advantage of the demonic Eye Emperor's absence to invade our race and the chaotic clan, intending to uproot us. The fourth elder's words were full of bitterness as he spoke of the past. Because they were worried about the great power that the demonic Eye Saint race and the chaotic clan would bring, the Divine Eye Saint race decided to go all out and eliminate the 2 saint clans to prevent future troubles. Despicable and shameless Divine Eye Saint race. The others in the hall also cursed. How could such a shameless race be called a saint? What a joke. One day, we will definitely make the Divine Eye Saint race pay with their blood. The crowd scolded sternly. Their eyes were red, and their faces were cold. At this moment, these words were like sharp thorns that pierced by Qianyu's heart. She trembled and shook her head continuously. At this moment, Chu Hen slowly turned around. His eyes, which were filled with deep pain and sorrow, met by Qianyu's gaze, which directly pierced by Qianyu's heart. Is this all true? Lady Bai, a tear filled with bitterness fell from the corner of Chu Hen's eye. Pain, sorrow. Under that seemingly calm appearance, there was actually a kind of heart-wrenching bitterness. Calm. Wonderful book house.